It's time for Twit This Week in Tech. Wow, do we have a great show ahead for you. When you got Alex Wilhelm, Roberto, Baldwin, and Mike Elgan all in the same room, you know it's going to be fireworks. We'll talk about the new Windows 10 anniversary update. We'll talk about robotic deer. We'll talk about the BuzzFeed animal vertical. There's so much excitement ahead. And maybe we'll put some tech news in there, too. Twit is next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is Twit This Week in Tech, episode 569, recorded Sunday, July 3rd, 2016. Don't eat the gas station nougat. This Week in Tech is brought to you by FreshBooks, the super simple cloud accounting software that's giving thousands of freelancers and small businesses the tools to save time billing and get paid faster. Try it free at freshbooks.com/twit. And by Tracker, a coin-sized tracking device that pairs with your smartphone and keeps you from losing your most valued possessions. Visit thetracker.com right now and enter the promo code TWIT for 30% off your entire order. And by Braintree. Mobile app development can be complex, but integrating your payments no longer has to be. With Braintree, your business can accept nearly every type of payment from any device with just one integration. Learn more at braintreepayments.com/twit. And by Wealthfront. Wealthfront is a low-cost automated investment service and the most sophisticated way to invest your money. Whether you've got millions or you're just starting out, visit wealthfront.com/twit and sign up to get your free personalized investment portfolio. That's wealthfront.com/twit. It's time for Twit, the 4th of July edition, the show in which we cover the latest tech news of the week. And, of course, tomorrow is our nation's birthday in the U.S., and at the end of this show, I'm going to pick somebody from the studio audience that'll get to ignite this rocket.
Underneath the desk.
In the studio?
Yeah. No, I've been told.
Say the kid.
I've been told under no certain. The kid. How many fingers do you have?
You got them all?
Right
yeah,
now.
you're good to go then.
You still have them all?
As long as you
can
ate
spare
and up,
you.
you're totally fine.
We got a great panel today. Alex Wilhelm is here from Mattermark, right?
Yes,
I got
correct.
it right.
You nailed it this time. I'm so impressed by you.
Mattermark. He is an EIC.
Indeed.
That is ego in charge.
Sure, we'll take that. It's close enough.
At Alex.
On Twitter.
On Twitter. He got, yes. No, that sounds like a mistake. Like you couldn't possibly be at Alex, but yes, you are.
I'm also at AlexWilhelm1 on Instagram with all the world's awesome usernames. So just form one line.
That's an AOL username.
I joined late. I'm not cool. So I was very behind on the whole Instagram phenomena.
How come the other Alex Wilhelm didn't get one? Is he 0?
No, he just got Alex Wilhelm, no number.
No number.
I had to add a little kick of the ink, so I'm not very, not with it.
From Engadget, Roberto Baldwin. I always say Roberto. Roberto Baldwin. Roberto Baldwin. He's senior editor in Engadget. STRNGWYS on the Twitter. I say that because if I say strange ways, they might want to spell it out.
That's true. Yeah, it's an old username that I got. Yeah, Smith's reference. Yeah. Back in the AOL days, I got it. We can only have 8 characters. That's the reason why it doesn't have all the vowels.
Oh. Wow, nice.
I just kept it because I'm lazy.
That is very sweet. Also here for the last time before he heads off to parts unknown, Mike Elgan, our digital nomad.
That's right.
From Elgan.com. And what is it, Nomadic Life? What is your...
It's called BecomingNomad.com.
Becoming Nomad.
Yeah, that is a site that will one day be the site for the book that I'm working on.
We've had such trouble. I mean, I have to apologize getting you on via Skype.
I apologize, too. I've dialed in with some really rotten connections. I feel like Jeff Jarvis. I mean, it's just bad.
I feel like Jeff Jarvis.
Yeah. He's been in Mexico
worst.
City and other places. No. And it's
Jeff, it doesn't even matter where he is. There's something, he breaks Skype. There's something about him. But you do a valiant effort. You're going off to France and then Morocco.
That's right. And then back to France.
Wow, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
I just saw that you can get land in New Zealand cheap.
And they even throw in a sheep or two.
It's
a great deal.
Okay, I looked up New Zealand, and now I found New Zealand record cocaine seizure in Horse's Head. That is
right.
That is not what I was looking for.
Sounds like a nice place.
This is the most family-friendly episode of Twit I've ever been on.
New Zealand town with too many jobs. They have too many jobs.
That's the problem.
Offering packages of land and homes in New Zealand for $165,000. And they say the unemployment for teens in this town is 2. Not 2%.
But 2?
Just 2
individuals.
2 kids.
2 kids.
You read the article.
I read the article. So literally unemployment's 2 among the youths. I want to go find the 2 people that are like, I just will not work.
I'm not gonna work. I'm sorry.
Like you're going to import people to do the job that I won't do down the street from around the world.
They're probably in a band.
I was going to make a League of Legends joke. You kind of preempted me though.
Hey, that's a job. That's a full-time gig.
For like 9 people.
Playing Twitch. So what made me interested about this is last week when Jason Calacanis was on, I asked him, what do you and your other, multimillionaire ilk, where is your hidey hole? Where are you going to go if it all goes to hell? And he says, New Zealand. But you don't need to be a millionaire anymore. If you have $165,000, you can go. I actually, after I read this article, tell me if you did this too, Alex. I went and I looked up the immigration requirements for New Zealand. Did you?
So no, there's an update when I read the story at the very bottom from the mayor of the town or something. Yeah, he was like, look this up first before you apply to make sure you're eligible for immigration to the area. I don't know if it's in the version you have.
It is.
Yeah. Very impressed by that.
So I read the announcement. I went and I looked up, and if you're an entrepreneur, if I wanted to bring Twit, the business, to New Zealand, all I have to do is invest $100,000. I'm spending 5 times that to build a new studio in town, and then I could have a 3-year residency. And if at the end of that residency I want to become a full citizen, I could. So I'm moving to New Zealand. Just want to announce that. You want to come, John? Karsten, Burke. Okay, that's all I need. I got the 3 people.
Are you gonna take us out by boat for in-studio appearances, or what's the plan for that?
You could hire those teenagers.
Well,
there's 2 more.
The 2 teenagers. You know what? I actually thought about that. I wonder if they can edit video.
Probably not.
They could be unpaid interns.
They probably have medical cards, though, I'm sure.
Can they put out seats for our non-existent studio audience who won't be there, because not only is this in New Zealand, but this is the remotest coast on the south of New Zealand.
What's the surfing like?
It's actually the southeastern corner of excellent. Surfing is excellent.
Is it?
No, they specifically mentioned that.
Boom.
Okay, so here's the...
Are you a surfer?
Yeah, I'm out. My wife is a British citizen. Does that help?
Doesn't.
Damn it.
They've even made a promotional video.
What kind of bandwidth can you get? That's the big...
I don't know why they're mentioning Australia.
New Zealand.
Okay, I looked that up too. So there are 2 undersea cables to New Zealand. There's the Taz cable, which comes from Australia.
Not very many.
Well, but there's a very good one that comes from California to New Zealand.
Really?
Yeah. They have ADSL, ADSL2, and other high-speed connections. They have fiber.
Okay.
And I think there's sufficient bandwidth. I don't know if there's sufficient bandwidth to this particular island, but I think there's sufficient bandwidth. You know who moved to New Zealand, of course, is Trey Ratcliffe, and he loves it. He lives in Queenstown.
Unemployed young people.
What?
Still laughing about the 2 unemployed young people.
2.
They're still unemployed. He just checked.
2.
And they've become internationally known for being unemployed by purpose.
Yeah.
Or on purpose, I guess.
And 4 ashamed parents.
What I find interesting is that not only did you read this article, but I see now it is the most popular article of the San Francisco Chronicle.
Ironically.
Covering that local angle.
Do you think there's going to be this mass exodus?
SF Chronicle t-shirt on.
Oh, we come out every day.
I'm on brand for Owen Thompson today.
Oh, I get it. It's a little pride joke.
Yeah,
we
it's
come
for
out
pride.
every day.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, now we're going to cover the tech news.
Oh, right.
I know, it's not as interesting, frankly.
There's a tech angle to this, of course, which is the digital nomad lifestyle, which I have become a big evangelist.
Inspire me.
You don't have to stay in New Zealand. You can live in New Zealand for a while and then go to Australia for a while, and then you can go to wherever.
You
anywhere.
move around.
I move around. I lived for a month in Cuba. I lived for a couple of months in Mexico.
But so you're a writer, so there's a difference because writing you can do anywhere.
Right.
You don't even need very fast internet. You just upload. Right?
If you went, the video is a problem. It's expensive, and what you do here is very, very difficult.
Well, I could go back to audio. I could do audio. Do you think I could do audio podcasting from anywhere in the world? You know what I can't do is live streaming. I could record it and upload it. It might take a day or 2 to upload, but I could do it. Anyway, believe me, I'm thinking about it. Only because it just feels like we're going to hell in a handbasket here. I don't know why. Is that me? Apple's taking the headphone jack out of the iPhone.
That will not stand.
I mean, that just feels like it's all over. It's all over.
Floppy drives are going to stay around.
And this is the funny thing. Business Insider had an article saying how much innovation it's going to stimulate when they take the headphone jack out of the iPhone.
I just vomited in my own mouth.
Innovation.
Woo!
Innovation.
You'll see it at CES 2017. That was sarcastic.
Innovation is going to happen anyway because the Doppler Hear One. Oh my God, it's not finished yet. But like the Doppler in like 3 or 4 years, this is
the thing that aims at you,
right? No, this is the thing. You open up the app and you're like, I don't want to hear the baby crying anymore, and then silence the baby remotely. You can like silence sirens. You can turn up this, turn down that. You can tailor exactly what you hear. And the new one, you can stream your music and make phone calls and do all the things you can do with a regular ear. It's like fantastic. It's $300, unfortunately, but this is where
you know how much my hearing aids cost? $6,000.
Well, that's right. This is a replacement. This category of hearable. They don't like that term, but I like it. Hearable is there are several multi-core processors in each earbud. This is really sophisticated audio technology, and I think it's all going in that direction. It'll all get cheaper, it'll all get smaller, the battery life will get better.
This is the new wearable, isn't it?
Yes, and so it's like, this is what I want. I want to never take them out. I want to hear only what I want to hear. Kind of like, political opinions, whatever. I want my own filter bubble.
Wait a minute, you can't filter out.
No, you cannot. No. You cannot. Not yet. Wait till
that would be a desirable
plug-in.
plug-in. I don't want to hear anything about the election.
But
6 months. That would be a plug-in.
But exactly. But this ships by the end of the year, and it's fantastic. And there are a few others. There's a smattering of
well,
there's a lot of innovation.
You say it's fantastic. Have you used it?
No, I haven't.
So in principle,
their previous product was impressive in multiple ways. There are a few things about this product that are kind of parlor tricks. You have the Darth Vader voice and all kind of stuff, which is dumb.
Wait a minute, everybody else sounds like Darth Vader?
Whatever you can sound like anything you want. I don't like that aspect of it, but I love it.
Like no,
so the concept.
Really? You think so, Roberto? Dumb? Would that be?
Engadget has spoken.
How about if?
What do we do? I don't know.
Everybody's
Vader voice.
Yeah.
Everybody sounded like
the enterprise market.
The pervy grandpa from The Simpsons. Hello, muscly arms. Everybody you saw. You like fries with that order.
Family Guy.
Family Guy. Is that who it's from?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Smart noise filters is really intriguing. The problem, it's easy for the Bose and other noise-canceling headphones to work with jet noise because it's a consistent sound at consistent frequencies. Yeah. They don't work well at all with voice or anything else. So I'd be very curious how smart these smart noise filters are. I guess an airplane engine's not so hard, but office chatter? Can you really block that out?
You can, because the way these things work, they work like noise cancellation, where they essentially take in the noise and then they
phase it,
oppose it.
Yeah.
And they do the same thing on the fly with specific frequencies. So they don't have a generic, for example, the baby filter is the one everybody likes because we've all been on those airplanes. It doesn't generically filter out. It listens for and identifies exactly what that specific baby is doing and where it's doing it. So the filtering in each earbud is different based on the location of the baby and stuff like that. It's pretty sophisticated.
Only reason I'm a little skeptical is because remember the Bragi Dash, which was a Kickstarter for Bluetooth headphones.
Also $300.
Yeah, and they did a lot more, except that when you got them, they didn't do much. Everybody I know who ordered them has put them aside.
Battery life on all these products is rubbish.
Terrible.
3 hours, 4 hours max. But I'm excited about the future of that. I really think that having a lot of processing power in your ears and wearing those things all the time is going to be pretty great in some unexpected ways.
That is not, however, why Apple is removing the headphone
No, it is not.
No, it is not.
They want.
Will they do that, Roberto? You work at Engadget. You have to deal with this in some way.
I mean, they might. Who knows? It's Apple.
You never know with Apple.
And the thing is that people keep bringing it up. Well, we have all these ports on our computers. Well, the audio jack isn't essentially a computer port. It's an audio jack. It's a jack that's used by millions of products.
Literally
everything from soundboards to tape players to everything uses that audio jack. And then to remove that, you're basically, giving the middle finger to an entire industry that's been, set up for, I don't even know how long. How old? I don't know.
Are you familiar with Apple? The middle finger to the entire industry is what they do.
But you're also giving a middle finger to millions of users because, if I get a phone and I'm paying $20 a month, I can afford that. I'm not making a lot of money, but I want a smartphone. Everyone has a smartphone. It's how you get your jobs. How everyone, it's everyone's computer for the most part. It's these mobile phones, and they say, okay, here's your computer that you can buy from us, but all the things that you've been using since you were born to listen to music, you can't use those anymore.
Right.
We want you to use, whatever insane Beats headphones we have, and then we'll give it to like maybe some third parties. We'll license it, and then
it gives them control over what will work and what will not work. That's
if they don't, if the next iPhone doesn't, if none of them have audio jacks, I'm not buying an iPhone anymore.
I think that's fair.
I use,
and that's a real.
I'm in a band. I use that audio jack for a lot of stuff. I use it to record.
Well, you're a
things.
musician. There you go. There you go. Yeah.
And yeah, it's ridiculous. And if they're doing it, they've already done it. If they're not doing it, then yeah.
But watch, because I don't think was it BuzzFeed or Business Week. It might even have been Business Week. The storyline that this is innovation. No. That's what Apple's going to say. We're innovating by taking out the headphone jack.
The deletion of some formats of storage and data transmission is good over time. We kept all the ports we've ever had over the history of computers.
This was what Gruber said. Yeah. He got rid of the floppy drive.
It's not the same.
But I don't think it's the same thing.
It's totally not the same thing.
Deleting floppy drives was very positive, I think. That was a very good move in the iMac. But this is different.
I was even like, you got rid of the 30-pin port and we have a smaller port that's reversible? Yeah, totally fine with that.
Well, that's
because it's a
the
connection
main
point between
reason.
Your computer. It's still using USB. Getting rid of serial ports, getting rid of great. I totally understand it. The audio port is not a computer port.
Right.
It's a universal port.
That's why they want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
They can't control it.
Exactly.
More than that, they can't sell you a license to use.
They also can't fully waterproof the iPhone. There's like
that
other
might be
benefits.
a good reason.
Yeah, I think.
Wait a minute. My Samsung Galaxy F7 is waterproof. It has
like
a headphone
Sony
jack.
has their.
Yeah.
And it
just makes it easier. And
it's easier.
It simplifies the phone really, and they want to be thinner. They want to do all this Apple-y stuff that people.
But that's another thing. I don't need a thinner phone.
It's
Stop.
not.
I need more battery life. I don't need a thinner phone.
Make it thicker. Give me more battery life.
As always, this is thin enough. This is definitely how much more space do you need to?
Well, the funny thing is, people then
Apple doesn't care.
They want more battery life. They put.
No, I want more.
By the way, you guys are all three of you are
using
carrying
iPhones.
I'm using an iPhone. As soon as they go to I'm like, well,
I'm using an
this is the
iPhone
last
clone.
iPhone.
Looks just like the iPhone.
That's fine. It's a rectangle. They all look like iPhones.
So
I like my 2007 vintage iOS.
Oh, that's sweet. You're using...
No, it just doesn't change since 2007.
That is true. By the way, I don't know if Apple said this, but I think that this will be the 10th anniversary iPhone, because the iPhone was announced January 2007.
Sounds right.
Shipped in June 2007. So it's not going to be the iPhone that comes out in 2017, because that'll be 9 months later. It will be the one they announced in September for October release. That will be the 10th anniversary iPhone.
Will it be like the 20th anniversary Mac?
Yeah,
like no one will buy it.
I have one over there. No value. Has not kept its value well.
Didn't keep it value when it sold.
No. Apple is in a little tiff right now with Spotify. I'm actually interested where you guys come down on this. I think there's two reasonable points of view. Spotify started the battle by complaining that they sent a letter to Apple's legal counsel saying that Apple is rejecting an update that Spotify has had waiting to be released in the iOS store, quote, causing grave harm to users by doing so. The letter says Apple, and they released this publicly, of course, Apple won't approve the new version because Spotify doesn't use the company's billing method for in-app purchases and subscription services. Apple did say that, well, Apple's response to this is, well, we've always treated you this way. This is nothing new. We've always said that. In fact, Spotify charges $3 or more a month if you buy it through Apple, which is actually kind of maddening. So, in fact, Spotify will tell you, and this is one of the things Apple doesn't like, will tell you, don't subscribe here. Go subscribe.
Apple's response, and I'm paraphrasing, I assure you, is that we abuse everybody in exactly the same way.
So why are you complaining about it?
Exactly.
And we've always abused you this way.
In a nutshell, they charge a 30-something% premium for anybody who's selling stuff, but they don't charge themselves. And if they did, it would be ridiculous, obviously. So everybody has a disadvantage against Apple, and they're right. I think what Spotify is doing, they're trying to force the issue into the public conversation because it really is unfair,
especially for subscriptions. Like in-app purchases, I'm like, okay, I can understand it, but for a subscription, like the in-app purchase, okay, it's being stored on whatever random server Apple's using. I think they're using Google, or who cares? But for subscriptions, like an ongoing payment system, that it doesn't seem fair, but everyone bought into it, and now they're like, well, you bought into it before. Why?
Well, they set the terms when there wasn't really an app store or app ecosystem in place, and so they could invent the rules that were the common, methods that everyone kind of follow on. But now Spotify is saying, how much money will I pay over these millions of users every month? That's just not reasonable. And given that Apple has more money, I land on Spotify side because I like smaller business than bigger.
Well, this is the problem. Spotify gets more than half of its customers through the App Store, which means both it costs them money and they can't say goodbye to Apple. This is a big part of their business.
Well, that's why I charge 13. So they're still getting their $10.
Well, this is what caused it. Spotify launched a promotion the second time they've done it that said, if you're new, get 3 months of service for $1, but you can only get it if you sign up on the web. And Apple threatened to pull the app unless Spotify stopped pushing the deal for iPhone owners. This is from Billy Steele's Engadget article. Spotify complied, but also nixed the iTunes billing option in the iOS version that is currently stalled. They took it out, and Apple says, well, you can't do that either.
So Spotify,
that's what Amazon did, though, for a long time, and I think still does. You can't buy a book in the Kindle app. You have to go to the Kindle store on the web.
Right.
Yeah.
Same thing with Amazon streaming. You can't buy movies within it because they'd have to give a 30% VIG to the Apple folks.
Like, so I find a book in the Kindle app, and I'm like, oh.
Is Apple going to ban the Kindle app and the Amazon streaming? I mean, that may be part of the reason you don't have Amazon streaming on Apple TV.
They just have you put it in a wish list.
Yeah,
and then later you go onto your Amazon account on any other device in the world and you buy it.
The reason this is, for the complaint now, of course, is that Apple has a competing service. So it's even more in Apple's interest to slow Spotify down a little bit.
Yep. And they haven't been super successful against Spotify. Right. Apple has dominated music since the early 2000s, and they just don't like it. They don't like it, Leo. They don't like another company sort of like doing a lot better on subscriptions and paid subscriptions than they are able to do. Of course, they could buy a certain music service to get 2 million more users.
Tidal is now
5 other
apparently.
People.
Yeah.
Tidal's always been a
editorialization
going
on.
If they really just wait, Spotify will go out of business in about 5 to 10 years.
I think that's the truth. Is that
if they just let's just wait until they realize they're never going to make any money. I mean, and then that's what happens. Google, Apple, and Amazon are going to be the only people with these services because they can afford it because
they don't have to make money.
It's secondary to the hardware or the other service that they're selling.
Apple says the current app actually violates our rules. It already violates the rules. We find it troubling. This is a letter from Apple's general counsel, Bruce Sewell. We find it troubling that you are asking for exemptions to the rules we apply to all developers and are publicly resorting to rumors and half-truths about our service. Do you think these guys will come to the table and
Can you
negotiate?
read that again in an English accent, please?
We find it troubling.
There we go.
Why English?
Because German sounds better. German would just be shouting.
No, I think it's more like, we find it troubling that you are asking for exemptions to the rules we apply to all developers.
Bruce Sewell just went up against the government. He's like, Spotify.
If I could beat the FBI, you ain't got nothing on me.
What are they, Swedish? Come on.
I could take down the DOJ.
What kind of name is X? I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know how Bruce
But to Mike's point, I mean, Spotify has 30 million subscribers. Apple Music has 15 million. And so it's only a 2x differential.
But Apple's coming on strong.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Apple's doing a very good job to capitalize on their built-in install base on the iPhone and using that to leverage quick growth in the market.
And I would guess that behind the scenes, the other thing that's going on here is how do you quickly kill the other guys is you make the music industry squeeze them. And what Apple wants to do is use Jimmy Iovine, Dr. Dre, their good connections with the music industry, Taylor Swift and others, to get the music industry to squeeze these other guys, right?
Yep.
And so behind the scenes, Bruce is also writing a note to Warner Records saying it would be very convenient for us. No, they don't need to do that. They just make nice to the music industry. They become one of us.
Right. I think that's what the the rumored Tidal deal is trying to make nice a little.
Because Tidal's the one that has all those
exclusives,
signed up because it's Jay-Z's company.
But it's easy to make nice with the music industry when you're Apple because you don't have to pay Apple a 30% premium. You can charge less and still make it profitable for more profitable for the music industry. They don't have to be operating on zero margins. And is that fair? I mean, it doesn't violate antitrust law to the best of my knowledge, but is that fair? If Google tried it, it would be unfair because they don't make everything, which...
I mean, let's face it, the music industry, it's run by 3 companies, right? All of whom charge exactly the same price.
Right.
Just a coincidence.
Total coincidence.
I mean, collusion is illegal, but clearly these companies, collude tacitly, if not explicitly, with each other.
With the music industry?
What? No.
The inventors of payola?
No, they wouldn't. They couldn't.
You're talking crazy.
They'd never do that. By the way, if they buy Tidal, they will not get Prince's music.
Oh, they won't? Then what's the point? That was like my whole thing. It's like, if they buy Tidal, they can get Prince because he's not around to say yay or nay.
This is speculation. They may get they'll get the life of Pablo, but will they get Prince?
It's not even a good record.
Is that a good record?
No, it's not.
It's
Kanye's
not a
best.
good record.
They get Lemonade.
Lemonade's a good record.
But Lemonade it's on the music store.
Right. iTunes sells it, but you can't stream it.
Okay.
Prince, according to someone in the know, I don't know, it would be a matter of whether the contract said that Prince's estate would have to approve any license assignment or not, and I imagine it would because that's a standard clause. So according to a music executive, Apple would probably have to negotiate a new deal with Prince's estate. It doesn't, in other words, Prince would not go along. In fact, what Steve Gordon, actually he's an entertainment lawyer and the author of The Future of the Music Business, is being quoted here in The Ringer. They're not acquiring Tidal's rights to play music, they're acquiring Tidal's subscriber list, that's all.
Oh.
And they're not, you know what they're really acquiring? Jay-Z's goodwill. Period.
Yeah. Jay-Z's like, look at all these people I brought together.
Jay-Z's goodwill.
Madonna.
And Jay-Z says, I
will
will talk to Madonna, I will talk to Daft Punk, I will help negotiate these deals. That's what Apple, if Apple's smart, and I know they are doing this, is they're really currying favor with the music industry. And you're right, they're just going to let Spotify wither on the vine. And everybody else except Amazon and Google wither on the vine.
Well, Spotify pays, 80 to 85% of its revenue back to record companies?
For
and
that number is selected by the record company.
And it's not going to go down. And so they have to somehow squeeze out a profit from that. I don't think it's actually numerically possible long-term with better terms.
They've never made money, right?
No, they lose lots of it. Well, so far as we can tell from other disclosures.
The only question is whether the music industry fears Apple, and they should, right? Because the real problem, in the past they have feared Apple, because Apple, the iTunes Store is the #1 music store by far. Not just digital music, but in general. I mean, Sam Goody's is not even like close. So I think if I were the music industry, I'd worry, because all Apple has to do is shut down all of these competitors and then say, oh, and by the way, music industry, you're getting 1/10 of 1% from now on. What are they going to do?
That's why I would support Spotify if I was them. I would try to find a way to keep Spotify alive, because Apple will not only come along, give you a hug, and then stab you and take away your ports.
Well, and Amazon, but Amazon, same thing, right?
Yeah,
Amazon, same thing. That's what they do with the publishers.
And Microsoft has a history of doing the same thing with everything.
Embrace and devour? What is it?
Embrace and destroy, hug, stab, whatever you want to call it. But
businesses, they want to make money.
Shockingly.
Shocking.
For-profit businesses want to increase their margins.
My God, you've said the most important thing of any Twitch show ever.
It's all they're
paging
all,
Karl Marx.
If you think your favorite phone maker or computer maker loves you, they love your money.
No, they don't love me.
But for the most part, they're a business.
I love them.
They're there to make money.
I love you, Steve Jobs. You don't love me?
I'm not allowed to talk about Steve Jobs anymore.
What?
Nothing.
Did you get in trouble?
On this show.
On this show?
Oh, you don't remember it? Good. Never mind then. That was an inside joke. Anyway, so music industry is a really interesting topic.
Let's roll back the tape.
Let's not. Yeah.
We have a clip.
Oh, you made him spit up his Red Bull.
Careful now.
That's cold. There's a lot of sugar in that. Do not spit that on your keyboard.
Yeah. Well, corporate laptop, so it's fine.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter. Mattermark has dozens of them. I noticed we got 2 MacBook Airs. We got an iPad and an iPhone.
I have a MacBook.
And a MacBook.
In my backpack.
Unused.
Yes.
And I have a 17-inch laptop.
This thing is just plain large.
You like it?
Huge.
Yeah.
What's it running?
But it just stays here, right?
Yeah, it doesn't move.
You don't okay, then it's fine.
No, it's not. It's got an hour battery life. You don't unplug it. I can barely get it across the studio.
But when you plug it in, all these lights dim, right?
But yeah, it's got a 980M in it, an i7 processor, 32 gigs of RAM. It's got an M.2 SSD. It's a screamer, and it's running Ubuntu. Yeah.
Boom.
You know what I found out?
When you need all that power,
if all you do is
Google
run Chrome,
spreadsheet,
it doesn't matter. It's all the same. By the way, I think Microsoft has found that out, which is one of the reasons this is the last version of Windows ever, in my opinion. Now, you were an editor of Windows Magazine.
Yeah, I was. Yes, I was the editor.
You've watched for years as Microsoft version after version, every 4 or 5 years, another version of Windows. At the end of this month, actually August 2nd, exactly 1 month from yesterday, they're going to release the anniversary update to Windows 10. And it seems pretty clear they are not ever going to do, and they've said this, a Windows 11. This is the last version of Windows.
Yeah, it makes sense. Everything is different now. Nobody's clamoring for the next version of Windows, obviously.
Because I'll even point this out. If we're all running Chrome, it doesn't matter if you're using an iPad, a Linux laptop, a Mac laptop, or a Windows laptop. It's this. It's just it's a thin client now.
Exactly. And that was actually a big battle. Nobody, the kids in the audience don't remember this, but there was a time when, who was it? Larry Ellison. Remember the Net computer or whatever it's called?
Think.
Yeah.
Thinked. What was that?
Yeah.
Thinked.
And he had this vision for this networked computers, cloud computing essentially. And everybody's like, people want to own their own giant PC. And they want to upgrade it with 2 more megabytes of RAM and stuff. There was this whole battle, and nobody could imagine a future when the internet was fast enough where you could actually do cloud computing. Well, that's the paradigm now, and nobody cares about.
Here's a blog post
about powerful hardware.
Web Informant from 2000.
You're right, Mike.
Yes.
The idea of a computer that is designed around a web browser is an intriguing notion, but the more I use the new internet computer, that's what the NIC is, the creation of Larry Ellison, the more I disliked it. No wonder it was a 256 megahertz PC.
Right. Also, it has Larry Ellison attached to it, so I hate it by default.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's my favorite super villain.
Oh, okay.
I just talked to somebody who was staying at the Four Seasons on his island, Larry's island.
Yeah, of course.
And he said the people of Lanai, supervillain has to have an island, right?
Yeah.
I hope it has a volcano that he could put his lair in, but I'm sure it must.
Hawaiian Islands.
Yeah. It's King Kamehameha's old island, so who knows what's, But Johnny Jett, our travel guru, was staying there. He said, you know what? The people of Lanai love Larry. There's 3,500 people. It's not a...
There wasn't really much going on before.
Dole pulled out. It was a big pineapple plantation. Dole pulled out. These people were all out of work. Larry moves in, buys the island, starts to renovate the hotels, builds them a baseball diamond and a community center, and make sure everybody's employed, even the people who were made unemployed by the renovation of the hotel. He found other work for them. They love him.
Beads and trinkets, basically. At least he didn't build a wall like Mark Zuckerberg.
That's true.
Mark Zuckerberg's like, a lot of people are building walls. And then he built a wall around his Hawaiian island. Yeah.
Did he really?
He did.
Yeah.
How
and then
tall?
The people who are like, I can't.
It's a big stone wall.
Like 10 feet or something like that. So the people who live can't see the ocean.
Is there a bridge to go along with his wall? The people who live near him can't see over the wall?
Blocking the view.
He's blocking the view. He moved in and was like, you know what? This is an awesome view. The rest of you.
Look up that. I'll look up his quote about how bad it is to build walls.
Which was the VC who wanted to block off the public beach?
It's a 6 foot.
Vinod Khosla.
He's still doing it. They're trying to sue him and stuff, and it's not working.
Mark,
gotta give that up.
Mark has built look at the size of that. He's built a 6-foot wall around his oceanfront property.
Man, Trump must be jealous.
He's like, oh, how do I get one of those?
And he made the Hawaiians pay for it.
Look at that.
It's pretty damn ugly. It's not even like a nice stone wall. It's like it's in Kilauea. He has a 700-acre property in Kilauea, apparently to block noise from nearby roads. Oh, there's Becky Worley. She knows Hawaii.
Our own Becky.
Our own Twit's Becky Worley, also ABC News technology contributor. She knows Hawaii. Grew up there. So wow. It's a very unattractive wall.
So when Zuckerberg...
Have you ever seen a wall and gone, dang, that wall is just gorgeous?
Yeah.
That wall, wait, where?
Usually not 6-foot tall wall. By the way, Mark is 5'8".
Also, you could just put up plants.
Even he can't see over his... You can see
We
over
went from
I'm
colonialism
just
to Haidism very quickly on this show today.
Yeah, surf looks great. Thanks, Mark.
I can't see. What?
I want new friends.
How's the surf, Roberto?
Block. It's not to block the road noise. It's to keep people out.
It's keep out the riffraff. He in April he was lashing out at Donald Trump and said that he's heard fearful voices calling for building walls.
This was at FA.
Yes.
And he said, we believe in building bridges, not walls.
Exactly. And that wasn't true, apparently. Because he hasn't built any bridges.
Three-word headline. Area billionaire hypocrite.
Yes.
Done.
That's right.
ABH.
ABH. Yeah, we'll have shorthand for that, and that'll be it. All right, we're going to take a break, come back with more. Great panel here. Alex Wilhelm from Mattermark. What do you do at Mattermark? You're an analyst? You're an EIC?
I just write a lot about finance and tech.
Yeah, mostly finance, though.
Tech finance.
That's what your clients are interested in.
No. I'm not part of that team. I just kind of write whatever I want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're an analyst, but you're a good guy analyst. You're one of the
I'm
nice...
an independent journalist analyst.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's the thing everybody's doing now, right? It's really, it's interesting.
It's enjoyable. I'm off the news cycle, but I have more time to write on each individual piece of thing that I produce.
There was a great article in the New York Magazine last week on Jeff Bezos and the Washington Post, and there is a case to be made that if you're going to continue to have journalism, you might need deep pockets to fund this.
That's actually that's in the show notes. Actually,
we'll talk about it. We'll get there. Yep. Also here from Engadget, I hear they have AOL behind them
and Verizon behind
and
that.
Behind AOL is Verizon, and behind Verizon,
who knows?
Carlos Slim. I don't know.
That could be true, actually.
It could be. We don't know.
No one nothing but mean things to say about Verizon.
No.
They have nothing to do with my individual.
So they don't have come in and say, it would be nice if you were to review the new Droid as a positive thing.
No one's ever...
of course not.
No one from AOL or Verizon has ever said anything to me about anything. No. And I rip on Verizon all the time on Twitter.
It would ruin the value of Engadget, frankly.
Yeah. I think people who say, you're like, oh, well, can Engadget ever be, truly independent now that... Idiots.
If they did, though, it'd be a great last story for you.
Yeah, because you would write that story. Because everyone on staff would, if you are forced to write that story, we're all on Twitter, just like boom, 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 boom.
There's going
to be a lot of media.
There's the real value to Twitter, isn't there? There is always still an outlet for people to say what they think, and people are reading it
and not get paid for it. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, awesome. Get paid. Hey, paid schmade.
Yeah.
Someone would pay me if Verizon made me.
I got into journalism for the money. I don't know what happened.
So did I.
Big mistake. Big mistake. That's Mike Elgan. He is a digital nomad, and you can read more at elgan.com, which probably, does it still redirect to Google+?
No, it doesn't. It's elgan.com. It's a whole site now.
5th anniversary of Google+ last week.
Yeah. Isn't that exciting? Yeah. I heard that. I read about it on Twitter.
I'm curious what you think. Our show today brought to you by FreshBooks. We'll talk about that too. FreshBooks. The super simple cloud accounting software that's helping people who are freelancers, who work for themselves, keep track of their invoices, their money, save time billing, get paid faster. Look, it is no fun. Let's face it. You don't get into business because you're so excited about the day-to-day admin work. You don't get into business because you like printing and mailing invoices, because you like dunning slow-pay clients. No, but if you're in business, you need to do that so you'll get paid. 5 million small business owners use FreshBooks, the dead simple cloud accounting software, to transform how they feel and handle their paperwork, how they feel about it and how they handle it. It starts with the invoicing. I mean, and that's how I started using FreshBooks more than 10 years ago. You can create and send an invoice in about 30 seconds. It's easy. It handles all different currencies. You can import time and hours from the FreshBooks app. The app is great. Of course, there's branding on your invoice. You could set recurring invoices. You could attach receipts. You can even set it up with your client that the invoice is automatically sent and automatically paid. Believe it or not, your clients hate paying bills as much as you hate sending bills. Nobody enjoys the paperwork. Make it easy for them. Your clients can even pay online, which means you get paid a lot faster, on average about 5 days faster with FreshBooks. And if they don't pay, auto payment reminders make it easy to keep on track.
You know, Leo, I use FreshBooks.
Do you?
All the time.
No.
Yeah, I do. I love it. It's fantastic.
That's awesome.
It's great because you can pre-configure every one of the fields. I just select the publisher, and it knows everything else. It knows how much I get paid for each column and all that kind of stuff. And then here's the part that nobody ever talks about that is one of the best things. It's a simple little thing. But sometimes I worry whether they got it, my invoice, right? And if they pay on monthly cycles, so if I miss a cycle, it's another month.
Right.
So you can just go to the site and look, and it says, yep, they opened it. They saw it.
I love that, because sometimes clients, not your clients, but some clients will say, oh, I didn't get the invoice.
Yeah.
You say, no, you did. You see, you opened it on Friday. I could see it right here.
Yeah.
You can also get deposits. This is something new. I don't know how exactly it works, but you can invoice for a payment up front. So a lot of times I was expensing stuff. And that does make it very easy. You take a picture of the receipt with your phone, it automatically gets in the invoice. But this will also let you request a deposit up front so that you can not be spending your own money on the project, and they'll dole it out and everything. It's really kind of neat. When it comes time to pay the taxes, the reports are fantastic. You get so much from FreshBooks. They even have an EMV chip card-enabled card reader, which means you can, if you're doing work at people's houses or on their premises, you can go there, you can create an invoice. You actually can create an estimate, create an invoice, get paid right in there, right in one place, all in your FreshBooks app. Right there, right then. Getting started is easy, and we got a 30-day free trial at freshbooks.com/twit. All we say, all we ask is mention This Week in Tech in the How Did You Hear About Us section. That way they'll know. freshbooks.com/twit. I have to log back into my computer. I have to now time my ads so it's exactly the sleep time on the computer. So I'm gonna log back in. Let's see. The ultimate Apple I/O death chart. I missed this. This is something from The Verge.
Nilay Patel.
Oh, Nilay's been so angry about the headphone thing. He says stupid and hostile to users.
Yep.
So
they built a nice chart about how when they opened and closed each of these technologies.
ADB. Oh, remember that? The Apple Desktop Bus SCSI.
I do not remember that.
VGA, DVI, floppy.
I know.
CD, DVD,
No,
USB.
the VGA belongs there. That's just...
They didn't invent that.
It's not like a thing that they got rid of and now that you don't have displays or whatever.
Yeah, what am I going to do? I don't have VGA anymore. Firewire. That's a sad story.
Yeah.
That was only...
Firewire.
Oh, we hardly knew ye. Thunderbolt is still alive, HDMI. That's nice. It's nice to have a chart.
Headline jack began in 1878.
Headphone jack. It really should go back farther than 84.
It really was invented in 1878.
Was it really?
Yeah,
Literally?
The basic jack that they invented for the first telephone operators.
The phono jack.
The current jack.
You're nodding, sir, like you were there.
He remembers it like it was yesterday.
He looks great for 212.
There has been innovation.
So it's
and
the same
smaller.
jack as the operators would go, your number,
It's
please.
the same general concept.
Right.
It's very old.
The phono jack.
So like the quarter-inch version.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Wow, that's cool. By the way, we've mentioned before that the Moto Z doesn't have a headphone jack, but see, nobody cares.
Nobody
because
cares.
It's like, okay, so what?
Good for them.
All 7 users and counting.
But then Ellen Tepper sent me an email saying, the very first Android phone didn't have a headphone jack, the G1 from HTC.
Oh, that's probably why no one
the
bought
keyboard
it.
that went up?
Yeah,
I think the
have one in
solution-
there. John, can you go get my that G1? It's the slide up first generation.
It didn't fall
Android
apart
phone.
The little
between
keyboard that was
then
hard to
and
use?
now?
Well, I probably didn't use it for very long.
Okay.
It's on the second shelf.
Their workaround was that you don't listen to music, basically. I think.
You
If I recall.
had like phones in that era, because remember, this is 2008 or something.
Yeah.
They had a proprietary plug that you would charge it
Right.
with, and then that had a headphone.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, and you're right. Not exactly a hot-selling item. Android N is coming, and we now know it's Nougat. Did you find it? Let me see. Is it a slider? Yeah, that's it.
He picked it up. It just crumbled
Wow,
in his
look at
hands.
this thing. Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
It left
Living
this.
history.
Wow.
This is the first. Well, I saved it because it's the first Android phone, right? It even says Google on the back, but HTC made it. I think they sold it as the Desire or something like
It looks
that.
different now, doesn't it? It looks smaller and weirder and
It
fatter.
looks
and,
like a toy you get at the fun fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
The claw machine.
Yeah, exactly.
look at that.
You're like,
this was
oh,
because
I wanted-
BlackBerry
it's
was
the-
still hot, right?
Yeah. You had to have a keyboard.
And this is a very BlackBerry thumb type keyboard. But yeah, let's see. There's nope, just a weird. Oh, John, now we know what that cable that we found goes to. That weird notched cable. I think we have that cable. We kept it. Yeah. So let's. You know what is fun is to take your old phone and plug it in and see what's on there.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
I have a Trio.
I mean, it's like you
I
were
got
19.
pictures.
Let's see what you got.
I got pictures of my butt before it sagged. In here.
Oh.
Yeah. No,
Oh well, let's find
John,
the charger.
John, don't find the charger,
The
please.
mental image is painful enough. Do not give me an actual copy, please.
I wonder what
I'm
the
interested.
thinking was, and they didn't have a headphone jack on that.
I think Apple should bring back the little plastic thing that you have to
Oh,
peel
pop off?
away to
get
plug
you
it in.
yeah. That would be a great.
So no surprise. It's not going to be. I'm glad to say, Android N is not going to be. What was it that we thought it was going to be?
Nutella.
Nutella.
Nutella. Well, they
I was shooting for nerds.
They were teasing it. It was nerds. It's not going to be a brand name, which is good.
Oh, it could have been
But you could blame what's his name? Hiroshi
Nakamoto? Bitcoin guy?
Lockheimer. What's his name?
I don't know.
Hiroshi Lockheimer. It's a strange name. But anyway, you could blame him because he posted, I'm and you're going to tell you what N stands for. I'm nut. And as a result, everybody was sure it was something with a nut. But I thought even early on, nougat would be.
Is it pronounced nougat or is it nugget?
Nougat.
Nougat. And what is nougat?
You've never had nougat?
Like
I may have had nougat, but pronounce it wrong. So what is it?
It's like a chewy thing with nuts in it.
Like Laffy Taffy.
It's the inside
No,
of
it
a
is
Snickers
not like
bar.
Laffy Taffy.
Okay, I'm trying to learn here.
It's the inside of candy
It's a
bars.
confection made with sugar or honey, roasted nuts, whipped egg whites, and occasionally chopped candied fruit.
I don't think I've had nougat. This is maybe new to me.
Missing it.
So nougat is famous. There's Torrone, which is an Italian nougat.
Yeah.
But there's a town in France, in Alsace. You'll probably be there.
I will go and have
That's
this. Just
famous
on
for
behalf of-
nougat. In fact, they're so famous for nougat. I remember when I was there in the 60s, you could buy nougat everywhere. The gas station had giant nougat sculptures in the window. Everywhere you could go. But don't buy gas station nougat, because that's
Can
not
you get
good.
it?
Eat gas station nougat.
Can you get it infused with weed?
You probably can.
Probably can.
But don't eat the whole bar in that
Right.
case.
No,
Yeah.
whatever you do.
like a
That's
tiny little
a
nibble.
conversation.
So, Leo, what's in nougat for Android?
Walnuts, pistachios, hazelnuts. I don't know.
THC, CBD, sativa, and
THC,
indica.
I don't know. N is the name they unveiled, of course, as they do.
Yeah.
The Android statue. He's standing on giant nougat bars. So there you go. That's your picture of nougat, Alex, if you want.
Which is less attractive, Android's interface or that statue?
They probably have outgrown that logo a little bit, but we're all attached to it now.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Oh my God, you can't get away from it
love
when
that
when you update Android. It's got the little antennas going like this, and oh my God, it's got the. This is really unappealing. It's got the when you're upgrading Android, it's like a nuclear belly.
Oh yeah, it's
The nuclear belly, and they put the thing in the nuclear belly.
off-putting.
It is kind of, if you think about it,
Yeah.
not really something you want.
No.
You see, it's like OS Crohn's disease or something. Something horrible's happening.
That's disgusting. Anyway, there really isn't news associated with that. In fact, the only news is that they they made such a big deal out of we don't know what it's going to be. Oh, everybody, internet name it. Like
It's not even the name. It's the code name. It's like
right.
Also, it's
Android.
nougat.
It's
Yeah.
Android
and it's nougat.
7. We don't know. They might call it
Nobody
6
knows.
10. We don't know. There is rumor afoot that Google will do its own new phone that will be not a developer handset like the Nexus phones, but actually a top-of-the-line flagship phone.
I have a conspiracy theory for you about
Okay,
why
good.
they might do this.
Why? Yeah, because why? Really?
Because it doesn't make sense. Ron Amadio did a good column about why it doesn't make sense. They've got things going their way pretty much. It doesn't, they would be competing against direct competitors. Initially, I thought, whoa, I know what they're going to do. They're going to build Project Tango in every single phone and subsidize it, make it cheap and all that stuff. That doesn't make sense. I think this is what makes sense. They're under fire around the world, especially in Europe, but they're also talking about it in the U.S. again, around antitrust and Android. Because Google wants, Google's paying some companies to add. In other cases, they're not paying, but they're trying to get all the Android handset makers to build in all the Google stuff, right? They really want that. That's the whole point of Android.
You can download the open source AOSP version of Android, but it has no Google services in it. That's free. Anybody can make a phone. That's what Amazon does.
Exactly.
They modify it and they make their Fire tablets. But most customers want Google services. They want Google Play Store. They want Google Maps. And so as a result, Google says, okay, you could do that, but here's the rules. A, you got to get our approval, and B, you can't make a phone without it. So that's the thing the EU doesn't like. The EU says, no, that's monopolistic. If you didn't say to Amazon, for instance, okay, you can make a standard Android phone with Google services, but that means you can't make a non-Google AOSP phone. That's Google's rules.
So here's the conspiracy. So I think that one reason to come out with a phone for themselves is they themselves can build everything in, just like Apple does. And so I think it's a kind of bludgeon to get the OEMs to voluntarily put that stuff in. Because, for example, let's say Europe said, okay, no, you can't, there's no way you can coerce handset makers to build in they can do whatever they want, and Google, there's nothing you can do about it. Well, there's no point for Google to even have Android in that market, right? So then Google can say, okay, well, we have a phone. Then we're going to sell our phone in Europe only. And so knowing that this exists, the OEMs will be like, okay, we're going to play ball because we don't want to have to compete with you directly where you're going to be selling the subsidized phone.
No OEM is worried about Google. No OEM. Look at the Nexus phones don't sell like crazy.
But look what the consumers want. They want the vanilla Google experience.
More and more they do, but that's something a handset manufacturer can do.
But they're not doing as much as the consumers want it. You know, and it's like Google can have the most vanilla thing.
Okay, really, there's only one OEM that matters at that level, the flagship level, and that's Samsung. Yeah. And of course, they do crap up their phones with Samsung stuff. Less and less, though, each generation, right? The next Samsung phone will be the Note. We think it'll be the Note 7 this fall. People aren't going to say, oh, here's a Google phone I can get instead of that Note 7.
I think in general, observers of the tech scene underestimate the panic and fear that companies like Google and Apple have that they're going to be locked out of a situation. Apple is building a car, for crying out loud, for one and only reason, so that they don't get locked out of the cars, right? All the cars. Google came out with Android for one and only reason. They didn't want to get locked out of the smartphone.
No, Apple's not doing a car because they are worried that people won't put Apple
It's a
car
content consumption experience.
They think of the car as a content consumption
Yes.
device.
Wait. It's a living room.
It's a rolling iPod?
Yes. And VR, living room, and all the rest.
This to me is the intersection of software platform companies, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Amazon, trying to interact with the real world with varying levels of success.
Apple's a hardware company. Apple's always been a hardware company.
They're a platform company that has done well in hardware and better than their opponents or competitors.
They did software. They did platform only because they felt that was the best way to sell hardware. And it's only recently.
Everything's to sell the iPhone.
That choice was
it's only recently they've started to consider having a future beyond selling hardware. And that's partly because their services, weirdly enough, because they're crap, their services are a big part of their profit center now. So
what percentage compared to the iPhone?
Well, iPhone is still killer, but services, I can't remember what it was like a $6 billion business. It was not
and you're counting fees to the App Store and so forth as part of that number?
And iTunes sales.
Right.
And, yeah.
Right.
And not just iCloud, obviously. But
iCloud's like $6 of that total?
Well, no, because everybody who buys an iPhone also ends up getting coerced into buying more iCloud storage for $1 or $2 a month. That's a nice annuity.
Could work if you can get it.
So Apple is now maybe more of a platform company than they used to be, but they really were a hardware company.
True, but in Google's case, for example,
Google's
back into
clearly
making hardware, they're going from software to hardware, and that's, I think, a much harder jump than people think.
Well, and that's exactly right, and that's why I don't buy this.
Failed for a reason. I mean, they would write off several $1 billion of goodwill for a reason, and I don't see how this is anything different.
I completely agree. I don't think they're going to do it. I think this is a phony rumor. I don't even think they are even contemplating.
I'm holding out for Windows 10 mobile
hardware.
And I mean, look, every company tries stuff. And this is one of the problems. It's hard to cover Apple because, they probably are making every possible product somewhere inside of Apple, but doesn't mean they're going to ever release any of those.
You mean they're not going to get an HD Apple TV?
No, sorry.
Oh, dude, shame.
I'm sorry. You may not even get an Apple car. I mean, I don't think that's a
They don't even have to make a car. They could just get all those people in there, figure out what they need, partner with Volkswagen, Toyota, Honda, Ford, whoever, and then they're the dash, even though a lot of these automakers are concerned about losing the dashboard to Apple or to Google or to whoever.
That's a perfect analogy for what Google's doing, right? Google makes the software, and they've partnered up to now. Even this was made by HTC, this first Android phone. They've partnered up to now with traditional OEMs, not Ford and GM, but HTC, LG, and Samsung to make their devices. So that's the only reason this is a news story, is that Google might make their own devices,
but why?
Right?
But the core of this is, why did Google acquire Android, and why do they have Android? I mean, it caused them a completely wrecking their relationship with Apple and Steve Jobs.
Doesn't matter, because they're selling far more Android phones are sold worldwide.
But what's the advantage of them? It's to have the apps. That's the only reason.
Right. Google services. So they do the open source thing.
Yep.
As a little.
It's a
tip of the hat. They know
for the same reason that I'm saying they can build this phone. So they have a hedge against a world in which they get attacked for antitrust.
Right.
Because if they didn't have the open source version, then it'd be easy.
Same reason Bill Gates gave Apple $150 million when it was about to go out of business, just so that they wouldn't be a monopoly.
Right. Exactly.
Wait, that wasn't altruism? Oh my God, my naive beating heart.
I cannot imagine. First of all, I'm not even sure what the distinction is, because if Google's not going to make it there in Mountain View with a hammer and chisel, they're going to go to Foxconn, the same people all these other companies go, and have it made there.
Amazon's Fire Phone, complete
distinction,
disaster.
that's why I say.
Google's Motorola purchase and Nexus experiments so far lackluster.
Yeah.
Microsoft's partnership with Nokia, later purchase of Nokia, disaster. Apple's just sitting around going, ha ha ha, I can pull this off. But whenever these other companies go back into this market, I expect losses and lower volumes than they anticipate. I mean, the Surface project will now finally work, but how much money does Surface take for Microsoft to get right? And if they keep doing this episodically as Google has, how can they possibly build the momentum needed to actually break into it? So I'm a pessimist, as always.
You can't start and stop. You got to do it.
I said the same thing though about Apple. I mean, when Apple was sitting pretty making Macintoshes and iPods, and this was when in 2007 the iPod was king, and they said, and people said they're going to do a phone. I said that's not a business you want to be in. That's a terrible business. And at the time, it was a terrible business. But they, because they were brilliant, because they created a platform that was significantly ahead of the pack,
because they didn't want to get locked out of a content consumption experience.
Maybe they saw the end of the iPod coming.
They knew that in the future, in the year 2000 or whatever,
man is still
people
alive.
Would watch.
Woman can survive.
People would watch videos and listen to music and eventually do VR and do all this content consumption. Apple ultimately does all these different things primarily for content consumption.
They see that as their business
I see that as their business model, and I think they do too. Since Steve Jobs came back and launched the iPod, that they learned, hey, this is what we do. And so that's why they can't. I said the same thing. I'm like, this is nuts. They don't know anything about the phone business. Why are they doing this? It's crazy. It's not crazy because the phone is a major place where billions of people will consume content that they may or may not be paying for. And so Apple was facing a future where they're just irrelevant because people are getting their content and so other people are controlling it.
Wouldn't it be prudent of Google, instead of trying to get in now on the smartphone thing, to look at what's next?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
I think they tried that with that thing in your face that no one liked.
Oh, God, you're right. Well, Mike liked it.
So... Hey, people are.
I love the instant back.
Mikey will wear anything.
It was dumb looking, but it was cool. I'm still holding out for the Luxottica sunglasses thing that was built in. Have you seen the technology that who is it? Who are the lens guys? Carl Zeiss.
Yeah.
Carl Zeiss has a thing that takes that whole chunky thing around the outside and builds it into the lens itself. It's like
Well, that's how it should be, a heads-up display.
Yes, and that's coming.
That's never what glass was. It was a screen over your eyebrow.
But the thing of having screens beamed into your eyes, that's coming, and that's going to come in for the mainstream.
That'll be very interesting. Of course, Google's looking at contact lenses as well, which might have that kind of capability.
Yeah.
And we were talking earlier about the wearables in the ear. I mean, I agree with you. Wearables as a category.
And smart glasses
and worth investing in. But I think that's what's really interesting is I am sure Apple in 2007 looked with great trepidation at this big bet they were making on the iPhone. I doubt very much Steve Jobs said, in 10 years, we are going to be the largest company in the world because we are going to have hit on the next big thing. It was as much a gamble for them as glass was for Google. It happened to be a very good gamble, but
they went all in.
No.
Like so many companies are like, we're going to kind of want to do it. And Apple went in and they bullied Singular. Into you know what, we don't want anywhere your bloatware, we don't want your logo on the back, and Singular's like, okay. Like you have to, Apple goes all in. They,
Your Glass was not all in bet. Glass was really interesting in addition to
Google doesn't go all in. That's exactly the opposite.
Let's kind of
they're the spaghetti
Google throws
against the
spaghetti, as much spaghetti as it can. And maybe they need more wood behind those arrows. You can use that in your next...
I will indeed.
Yes.
That's hashtag Leo's advice.
Maybe I hate that phrase. That's like at the end
you
of the day.
have a show that's just advice, don't you?
Yeah.
Like the tech guy?
No, this is it.
Oh, this is it. This was an advice show. We're really sorry, everyone.
My advice to you, Apple.
I thought this was the other one.
Yeah, no.
Look into the wood thing.
You know what Apple does?
vegetables.
You know what Apple does is whatever Leo says, let's do the other thing.
Right.
Leo said,
Leo said that?
Leo said, don't go. The phone business is a terrible business. Leo said, opening retail stores, Gateway just practically went out of business with retail stores. You'd be nuts.
Can't miss.
I said, Intel, what's wrong with the Power PC? Look at that cell chip. That's going places, kids. So all Apple does is say, Leo doesn't like it. We're doing the right thing.
But we can use this. Leo, repeat after me. Apple.
Remove
the headphone jack.
Removes the headphone jack. No one wants a headphone jack.
Making a difference.
That's crazy
Now
talk,
we've got them
Apple.
cornered, boys. They can't escape.
Why do you still put holes in your hardware?
There's someone at the Apple HQ picking up a phone and being like,
you don't need holes in your hardware.
No, I'm not in trouble this time. That was all Leo.
No, burn all those phones. No, yeah. Start over. We're
going to take a break. I'm all in on this thing. This is so cool. In fact, this is so funny because I see more and more of these around, and I realize, I kind of, when I see these, I go, oh, you don't want to lose your stuff either, do you? I have one on my keys. It's called the Tracker, and it lets you track your belongings with Bluetooth. So what happens is you get a tracker. This is the Tracker Bravo, which is very slim and elegant. Actually, my keys aren't here, but I'll open this one up. What color do you like? You should have a different color for every device. Animals, you can put them on your cats because they're so small and thin and light. The Tracker Bravo comes with a one of those little quarter-sized batteries that'll last all year. When you get the Tracker Bravo, you pair it up to your phone. There's just a little button on it. You put the Tracker app on your phone. Now, here's what happens. It's kind of a two-way separation alert. So if your phone and your keys part company, it will alert you. If you leave your keys on the beach and you walk away, your phone will go beep, 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 beep. Your keys are out of range. If you leave your phone behind, the tracker will go beep, 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 beep. And here's a cool thing. You can push the button on the tracker, and it will set off an alert on your phone, even if your phone is silenced, and your phone will start ringing at you. You can make it anything you want. I have Black Sabbath Iron Man
Good
on my
choice.
phone.
Good choice.
When I hear that,
stop. You can't. You don't pay licensing.
I only played 4 notes. How many notes do I get?
That was more than 4 notes.
What's cool, your phone can track up to 10 devices at once, so get a bunch of them. These things are fantastic. Now, here's the other thing. The only tracker does, and I love it, they have the largest crowd GPS network in the world. So you might say, well, Bluetooth, that only is good for about 100 feet, right? Right. But what if you get past that range? Let's say you leave your keys on the beach and you go home. Now you know you've lost your keys, but how does your tracker know? Well, first of all, it knows the last time it saw them. But then if anybody with a tracker walks by your keys, the tracker on your keys talks to their smartphone app and says, I'm here, tell Leo. And I get an alert saying somebody just walked by your keys. They're on the beach. That is huge. And with 1.5 million devices out there, this network is everywhere. So there's a map. Scroll down a little bit, Carson. You can show the map. This is where all the trackers are, all over the world, all over the country, I guess. So that is really, really cool.
That's creepy.
Don't lose your stuff in Nevada.
Yeah,
that's
like the desert.
Nobody lives there.
Nobody lives there.
It's a Nevada test site.
Yeah, that's the Area 51. Don't lose your tracker in Area 51. You'll never get your stuff back. Look at the Bermuda Triangle on the right. Nothing there either. Tracker uses Bluetooth LE, so the battery lasts a year. They have water-resistant cables, so you can put it in your pet collar. You can even add a laser-engraved message to your Tracker Bravo, so put your pet's serial number or name or whatever on it. They just introduced the Tracker Atlas. This is also new. It works with the Bravo or third-party Bluetooth trackers to pinpoint your item on a floor plan of your home. So one of the problems, of course, you might say, oh, I know my keys are at home, but I don't know where. Well, with the Tracker Atlas, you know where. Oh, yeah, they're stuck in the cushion. You can actually see a floor plan of your house.
That's cool.
And see where your keys are. I'm gonna glue one of these to the back of the remote. That's what I really need.
Well, I really need these because I move every 3 months.
I know, you're the tracker.
And it's like, I'm so paranoid.
Where is everything?
Stuff behind,
Yeah. Yeah.
How much stuff do you
like
own
my
at this
wife.
point? Like
nothing.
He's really parroted.
I have this backpack right here and a rolling back. Thank you.
For your backpack.
Thank you. Wow.
Would you like one? Don't say no.
I don't lose
say
things.
no.
I'm not old.
Okay, fine.
What?
I'll keep it.
You don't lose things?
Yeah, I don't lose things. Oh,
What
boy,
are
is
you?
that going to bite
He's
him in the
jinxing it.
ass.
Dude, I lose things.
TheTracker.com. The hardest thing to find right now will be the website because they spell it funky. TheTracker.com. There's no E at the end there. And use the promo code TWIT. You'll get 30% off your entire order. That is a very, very good deal. 30% off at TheTracker, TheTracker.com. Promo code TWIT. You are watching This Week in Tech with a great panel, Mike Elgan, Elgan.com. He's about to leave for France in a week. South of France.
South of France.
Fun.
Yeah, Nice, Marseille, and Aix.
We're going to be there next year.
Really?
We're taking a river cruise up the sun.
I'll warm them up for you.
The one from TBS?
TBS?
No, PBS.
No, I am taking a PBS cruise in the fall,
Which
though.
one? The one? The
Julia Child's going to be on it, I hear. I got all excited, and then I said, previous guests have included.
Oh.
So, No, I am taking. Believe it or not, it's just a coincidence. I'm taking a PBS cruise to the Baltic. I can't wait to see who's on board. Maybe Garrison Keillor. I don't know.
Maybe some Muppets.
Some Muppets. That's Roberto Baldwin mocking me.
I'm not mocking you.
Mocking me.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You're not going anywhere,
jealous, buddy boy.
I'm just like when I'm not talking, I'm just going.
When's
to
your
Mike's,
next
Facebook?
When's your next?
Oh,
no, don't do that.
Place.
Oh, look at all.
It's a lot of food.
Oh, you do
a lot of food.
You do
I'm
a FOMO.
very hungry.
It's your FOMO feed.
Yeah, this is my FOMO feed.
How's the band doing?
Doing well.
Next performance
Friday
where?
At the Rickshaw Stop in San Francisco. We're doing a Prince show.
A what?
Prince.
Oh, you're going to do the Prince
We're
show.
Going to do the Prince show.
Have you done that already, or is this the
Nope,
the
this
one?
is the first one. This is
because he's learning where doves bleed, cry.
Where doves explode? Crash. What is it? They ratchet.
What happens to doves?
For God's sake, get it right.
You're
on
learning
stage.
that. You're going to do that with a synthesizer.
We have a vocoder on a synthesizer.
But are you gonna learn this kind of like the weird, strange vocal things that he does?
Yeah. I've been working on my Prince screams.
Do you want to give us a sample?
So I got
Good, very good.
so
Is that going to be punched by a Smurf? Like, oh.
that's the sort of Prince. That's the beginning of a couple songs and in the middle of a few songs.
You're gonna wear the whole Prince outfit, the purple with the.
No, I have
Are
a
you
nice
Prince?
purple tie. I sing a
He's
bunch
the
of the
Prince.
songs, but we have other singers in the band.
What's the name of your band?
Controversy.
Controversy.
Oh, this is not N.A. Scum.
No, this is not
I
the
almost gave
regular
out the
band.
wrong Twitter handle, so I'm glad
It's
that I asked.
many
Okay.
bands. He's a band of many members.
I'm juggling 3 bands right now.
Wow. And
Actually 4 if I think about it.
Think about it hard.
Don't
Is it
think
5?
about it. That's
No,
too
it's
many.
just 4.
those guys in band 4 are really feeling sad.
Yeah. No, well, that was the band I did the Bowie show with.
Oh, a Bowie show.
So we did the Bowie show.
So
now
you
we're
only
doing
do
Prince.
dead artists now?
Yeah.
They don't sue
They're
you.
less likely
You can
to
do your
sue.
Leo
We're
Laporte
doing-
next year then.
We're doing a Devo show, and most of them are
Devo,
still alive.
Mark Mothersbaugh is live and kicking.
Have you seen Devo? Like even lately, they're amazing.
They
They're
are
amazing
that's,
live.
That's what I hear.
Unbelievable.
I hear they're still good.
I've
They wear the
seen-
planters on the head still.
I've seen them like at music festivals, and they have the 20-year-old. They're like, man, I'm so sad. And then Devo comes out and just kills.
Yeah.
And you forget about all the other bands.
Wow.
They're
That's
unbelievable.
Yeah, there's a little Tech TV tie into this because when we launched in May of 1998, we had a big party and they wanted to book the biggest act they could afford. It was Devo.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then they
did. No, that would be a bad story.
we wanted to, but
they
No.
couldn't afford it.
So we played a tape. We played a
They got-
mixtape.
No, John, my Devo hat is in the kitchen. It's actually it's the mixing bowls.
For those of you who don't know, Devo is an American new wave band formed in 1973, 25 singles and 9 studio albums. I had no idea.
Is it
And they
73?
wear traffic cones on their head.
You'd never heard of Devo?
No.
Wait, you never heard of
Are
Devo?
we
Not a man?
That's so.
You have weed on your shirt. Don't talk to me.
I do not have weed on my shirt. That is a palm tree.
I'm very confused by that.
If you missed the pre-show, that doesn't
My
make
wife
sense.
met someone who didn't know who Bob Marley was. So,
Wow.
And I think Bob Marley has a larger.
I shouldn't tell this story because my wife's sitting right there.
Oh, Devo.
Don't do it, Leo.
I'm gonna
I
send
can't
you.
name a single Devo song.
Are you
Not
on
one.
Spotify?
Tell it?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's saying tell it, so I'm going to do it. It's his fault, honey. So we're going down to meet with an old friend, and the friend says, "Would you mind if Paul Simon joins us for dinner?" And I said, "No, okay, that'd be cool." And I come running in. I could barely contain myself. I said to Lisa, I said, "Paul Simon's going to be there." She said, "Who? Who's that?" I said, "Paul Simon." Yeah, the Economist? No, Simon and Garfunkel.
Does Garfunkel mean anything to you?
And she said, "No, not ringing a bell." So I ended up getting. This is where Spotify really comes in handy. I literally played her every Paul Simon and Garfunkel song until I found one. Oh, You Can Call Me Al guy. Yes.
Okay.
Me and Julio.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Guy with the diamonds on the sole of his shoes. He's going to be there. Oh. Actually, she hit it off with Edie Brickell.
Oh, nice.
Paul's wife, Edie Brickell. Yeah, they got along.
Are we not friends on?
Gangbuster.
There's no economist,
here comes
Paul
the
Simon,
reckoning.
but there is a German architect.
No,
named
there's a Paul Simon. Who is he? Am I wrong? See, now here she comes. I'm in trouble.
Well, fix that.
He said it. He said I should say that story. That guy. Right there.
Today we're throwing the whole front row under the bus.
Chaos ensues.
I made them sit in the front row. I said, this isn't school. Sit in the front row. And now they're sorry because they thought, I said, this is not a Gallagher show. You don't have to wear a poncho. I'm not going to hit a watermelon.
Would have been a good idea.
Yeah, maybe. Google is changing how... okay, explain this to me. You probably understand it better than I do, Mike. The ads, it's in the past they've used information that they know about you from search and all that stuff to power Google ads on Google sites, but they never did that on third-party sites. They're about to do that on third-party sites, right? Starting today. But it is opt-in.
Yeah.
What?
Who's going to opt in?
Nobody.
Yeah. I am, because I want better ads.
Yes, but you're
No.
I've never heard someone say it before. That's what I want. I want more of the crap that filters through the entire world. I want a better quality of it.
No, you're going to get the ads anyway.
No, you're not.
Wouldn't you rather have ads that are something that you're interested in than ads that you have no interest in?
I know an ad blocker guy when I see one.
Yeah.
And this guy's an ad blocker guy.
Ad blocker guy, because I've used the internet.
Yes.
Awkward
I've
silence. It's fine, but I'll take it.
The internet.
No. Ad blocking technology is effective. Leo is saying that he's stuck with ads. There really should be better.
Let me explain the silence.
Okay.
This house was built with
ads.
advertising.
I don't block Leo's ads
Now
because
you
you
understand?
can't block them because they're part of the same file. It's very smart.
Clever. It's part of the same file. There's no third-party ad blocking. It'll work.
Amazing how that works.
But let me ask you something.
Okay, I'm here.
If there were, would you use it on podcasts?
No, some things that I like, I support. So I turn off ad blocker for certain sites.
Lately, I do also use it. I use uBlock Origin. Lately, I have been, and mostly because sites are being really annoying about this, I have been turning it on. I mean, disabling it, I guess. When I get to Fortune.com, for instance, they now say, oh, come on, man.
And Bloomberg and The Guardian and everyone.
But you know where I don't do it is Forbes, because
they won't let you into the front door anymore because of their blocker.
Yeah, and then you get malware. So that's not good. And I think this is something people overlook, is that people don't just run ad blockers because they don't like ads. They run ad blockers because there's security issues with ads.
Yeah. Yep.
But now with Facebook ads.
Not my ads.
Ad networks are just lazy as...
They're bad.
Yep.
So anything more to say about this?
All I have to say about this is this is part of a larger trend where the big companies like Google, Facebook, Apple, etc., are in the business of building a better user. So what they're trying to do over time is get you used to more and more cookie tracking.
Does that sound creepy? We want to build a better user.
When was that conscripted into this fight?
Frankenstein said?
Yeah, yes, exactly.
I want to build a better user.
So they're methodically going in this direction, but mark my words, 3 years there's going to be no opt-in. They're just going to do this whole thing all the way, and nobody will care.
That's the
and
real.
That's true.
No one will care.
That's the real truth of it. Is that if they did this without making it opt-in. Nobody noticed either. I guess so. There's a new page called My Activity. Yep. It may or may not be turned on for you. It's going to be turned. It's starting to be turned on today. It's really interesting because 9 to 5 Google said, "Hey, great news!
Yeah. Google's
new ad technology is opt-in."
Yeah.
And then Wired said, "Uh-oh, Google expands ad tracking." So it really is a variation in how people view all of this. My attitude is, we're going to get ads. Wouldn't you rather have ads that are, of more interest to you?
I think we're like a weird. We don't count. Because I'm searching for so many weird things for work that the ads that are pushed to me, and then I use I killed all the trackers and all the cookies and all my.
It's my position. The reason people don't like ad tracking is not because it's effective, but because the tools, the recommendation tools, are so crappy.
Thank you.
That they're creepy. They either recommend stuff you just bought over and over again, like I already got those Levi's. I don't need to see them anymore. But that's just poorly implemented recommendations.
I've been recommended I bought something on Amazon, and then on Facebook it recommended me buy that thing. I'm like, I just bought it,
dude.
You can only have 4 microwaves per house. After 4 microwaves, it just stacks up.
If you bought a microwave and then it recommended Hot Pockets, wouldn't that be of interest to you?
That's true.
Don't tempt me, Frodo. I mean, because that would be too much power.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's not ad tracking people don't like. If the ad tracking and the recommendation engines worked, that people would actually appreciate that. Ads would be more relevant to you.
But this is a huge problem. This is the elephant in the living room with all the data they harvest. They keep harvesting all this data, and where are the relevant ads? We've been waiting year after year, and they're terrible at it. They're horrible at it, and that's one problem. I think the bigger problem is just a cognitive bias against a human being understanding what actually happens with the so-called tracking. There is no tracking. There's no committee of conspiratorial people. Oh, look, Alex Wilhelm just did this, like he just bought some weed on whatever. No, that's not happening, right? That is not happening. It's just there's algorithms.
We anthropomorphize technology because technology, our brains are designed to act on human interactions. We don't have the biology for
But that data, if it's in a if they can't even, the malware, if that's insecure, then the data that's being held somewhere,
who's protecting that?
Yeah, who's protecting that data? That's my concern. It's the sort of like the ad people.
That's going to happen, though?
Well, they can track where you go, what you're doing, what you're buying, and then that just builds a more robust system to help them hack you. Every little bit of information that you put out there is more information someone can use.
I noticed that you have a Chiquita banana sticker on your camera, for instance.
Yeah.
Alex, you do not. I do not.
I don't think anyone's going to hack me because I'm pretty boring, so I don't really worry about it too much.
So but are you really? Why are you so worried?
I also report on security.
Yeah.
So I get
that does make you a target.
Yeah, it makes my Google account. I get about 3 alerts a month that someone's trying to hack it.
I get that too.
Yeah.
I got spear phishing from I think a lot of people have been getting a lot of spear phishing from Twitter lately.
Yep.
But my Google account gets hit all the time.
That would be a Twitter tweet directed at you with an email payload that's aimed at you.
It's an email that says,
Twitter?
there's something wrong from
Twitter.
From Twitter.
Yeah, right.
It says, there's some weirdness going on with your account.
And you say that's spear phishing because you think it's targeted at Roberto Baldwin.
Yeah, because the funny thing is they send it to the wrong email address.
So you know it's the
so I know
that's really funny.
because they send it to Roberto Baldwin at mac.com, which doesn't go anywhere.
It's a real address, but it's
a
not
real
anything
address,
you'd ever use
but
for anything.
nothing is.
Did you just give away one of your actual email addresses on Twitter? I just love that idea.
That's the one he
Send
ignores.
me some emails. I don't care.
Yeah.
Whew, all right, that's dangerous.
Leo Laporte at
Well, my
iCloud.com.
emails.
I'm MikeElgan@gmail.com.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. No, I used to make light of the broader worry about hacking thing, but my voicemail got hacked once, and that was a really huge pain. Someone actually hacked into my voicemail and changed my voicemail recording so that I left then the next web and joined Engadget. And I found out because my then girlfriend called me and was like, "Did you leave your job?"
But almost certainly that prank is somebody who knows you.
I wrote, if I find them, we're gonna have a chat.
But it is because they knew enough about you to do that. I mean, right? They knew you.
And they knew I hadn't set up my voicemail yet when I moved to Verizon.
Yeah.
So it was insecure. Oops, classic rookie move.
I guess one point is that there's nothing you can do to prevent hacking, really, right?
If you're targeted,
if somebody says, "I want to get Roberto," they're going to get you.
Yeah, if I'm targeted by a nation state or
not even a nation state,
by a group of
look
hackers.
Look what Kevin Roos did on Fusion.
If Lizard Squad wants to hack me, they're going to get to me.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to do is
lower your surface.
Yeah, it's like when someone a thief is walking down the street and they're
turning
every doorknob and they're like, one of these is unlocked. This is the one.
You don't
want
to leave your purse on the front seat. You put it in the trunk.
Yeah, I take.
And we all do that.
Yeah, but if I'm, if Lizard Squad wants to get me, or if
the NSA, North Korea, China,
NSA,
Russia,
anybody with a lot, if you're a target, you know.
I guess we are going to have to worry a little bit more about casual kind of malicious hacking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why hasn't it been worse though? Why has there not been more systemic internet-wide disasters of privacy? I feel like it's usually constrained to target customers.
Here's my guess.
X and X.
My guess is it's happening a lot for high-profile subjects. And of course, if it happens to you, the last thing, you guys are journalists, you're going to write about it. But the last thing Scarlett Johansson is going to do is talk about it in any form or fashion, right?
Yes.
Her experts are saying, don't shh.
Right.
I've seen Hulk Hogan, Justin Bieber, Scarlett Johansson, a bunch of celebrities' social security numbers.
Right.
Just freely available on the dark net.
And they can change them, but it's not easy to change it.
Yeah. They have people who that's their entire job is to make sure they know that their information's out there to keep everything they have secure. And so you're just constantly changing phone numbers. You're constantly changing email addresses.
I would love to talk to somebody who is a major celebrity, and I'd like to put this out to anybody who wants to volunteer, but a Stephen Fry or somebody who's just a major celebrity. Who would be interesting to talk to is Neil Gaiman, because he's well known among geeks. He's a geek icon, and ask them, what do you do? Because for sure, there's some 18-year-old geek who's attacking you constantly, right? And what does it cost you? How much effort do you put into it? What do you do? Are there, I'm sure, in fact, I know there are firms that do this. I've been told there are firms that do this. I've been told that there are firms that you can hire at great cost who will track the hacker down, who will actually, a counter hacker working on your behalf that will more effectively, probably because they're willing to break the law, more effectively track down the miscreant and threaten to break their legs. I think that you can pay for that.
There's what Roberto brought up, which is that everything's in the cloud now. So a lot of the hacks we hear about, we don't really see the consequences in a big way, but you hear that some hospital system company or an insurance company or all the government agencies have been hacked by the Chinese and Russians and so on. But it's like if everything's in the cloud, which brings us around to, I think, is always an interesting conversation. Does Apple do what they say, and is what they say they do the right way to go? Keep all the information on the phone instead of sending it to the cloud.
That's the new question
that
we're all going to be asking after WWDC and the announcements about differential privacy and on-device.
Yep.
Apple wants to use information about you, but they think or assert that they can do it privately. But that's marketing speak. They will at some point. Apple always does do a white paper, which might be more forthcoming.
But Apple wants us to keep more of our stuff on our phones and yet still sell 16 gigabyte options.
Right.
Well, they may not do that in the next phone. There's a rumor they're going to start at 32 now.
That would be lovely.
Yeah.
But do you think it's going to happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Bet you $1.
Ooh.
The inadequate one,
Gambling.
though,
See, I
is...
told you he was gambling.
Pinky bet.
There we go.
Pinky bet. Is that binding?
Yeah,
I believe that's a legally binding pinky
in
bet
4 states.
because it's also been recorded. So you have a
the video's on, right?
Did you take a picture of Mike O'Donnell?
Yeah, and he took a photo. Like the people in that room saw.
Yeah. Anyway,
now you're worried about that dollar, aren't you?
No,
you got to
I'm
liquefy
gonna
some of your
bankrupt
assets.
I just remember there was somebody like O'Donnell in the audience when Tim Cook and Bono did their famous
ET thing?
finger touch.
Yeah.
And that had became an image that will never go away.
Sadly.
And now it's you and me and pinkies, babe.
because we're just as handsome and wealthy.
Yes. And people care as much.
True. Also equally untrue.
Yeah.
But anyway, to a certain extent, the worst case scenario for Apple, just to zip this up, is that it's the pandering to the public ignorance about stuff. It's in my hands, therefore it's secure. Well, no, unless I leave this in a taxi or whatever.
No, well, I'll give you an example. Apple has, everybody knows if they read between the lines that Apple has the key to your iCloud storage. And if asked by law enforcement, by duly ordained, I guess it's not ordained.
If law enforcement asks for that,
law enforcement, if the right people ask, they will give your iCloud contents to.
Well, here's another way to look at it.
But they don't. But they act as if that's not the case.
Right. Again,
no, they've
public
said
perception.
they've been very public about that. I've been on calls with them. You talked to them.
They say they will.
They said they will give it over. They've.
Well, the first time I heard them say that publicly was in the San Bernardino case, where they said, and it felt a little self-serving, hey, had the FBI only asked us and not changed the password, we would have just said, back it up to the iCloud and we'll give it to you.
Well, that was also the FBI.
That was very self-serving.
Don't even talk about the FBI's technical abilities.
Right. But I think the general populace doesn't know that when you back up your phone to iCloud, you're giving the entire contents of the phone, encrypted or not, to Apple, which can then and will then give it to law enforcement if asked.
Well, then there's
or it could
speculation that they're not
because after all, isn't that where Scarlett
point.
Johansson's
Because
pictures
they encrypt it, because they have the keys to that encryption in the iCloud. But there's speculation that they're not going to have the key anymore. They're going to do the same thing on the phone.
They're going to swallow it.
Believe me, when they do that, they will announce that.
Oh,
yeah.
Because it's a huge publicity wave for them.
And I thought they might announce something at WWDC. And to me, the fact that they did not tells me that Apple's trying to have it both ways. That they want... Look, it's also bad PR with a lot of the American public to say, oh, we're not going to help you in your investigation against terrorism.
Right.
Because #freedom.
Right.
So I think Apple wants it both ways. I think they want general consumer, exactly as you said, they're kind of obfuscating it. They want the perception to be that they're protecting you. They also want it to be clear to law enforcement and anybody paying attention that, in fact, if law enforcement needs it. But, and you know what, you may even say, and I think a lot of the public says, no, that's fine. If the FBI asks, you should stand and deliver. But what people don't get is, well, if that's the case, it also means that that is less secure for a bad guy. That somebody, a misbehaving employee at Apple might have access to that, and hackers might have access. And in fact, that is what happened with the naked photos of Jennifer Lawrence.
That was a phishing campaign.
But they got in through, those were iCloud stored photos, right?
Yeah, because they phished them.
Well, we don't know exactly.
No, they did. We found out.
It was they phished them?
Yeah,
All
they
right.
phished them. It was just a simple
wasn't
phishing
social
campaign.
engineering? Because I thought some of it might have been
phishing is social engineering.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought some of it was calling Apple reps and getting some information from them, and maybe not.
So
we don't know.
Matt Honen's hack was phishing.
That was Apple.
phishing.
That was social engineering.
That was Apple, Amazon.
Right. They
think it was
used
just those
social
two.
engineering with Apple and Amazon to collate information.
It was super easy because we had to do it for research.
But Apple
The
changed
staff.
it, and Amazon changed it. They say. But that's my point: is that if Apple can see the data, if Dropbox can see the data,
Right.
it doesn't. Yes, they can say, well, we're only going to hand it over to law enforcement, but in fact, it makes it less secure.
Right, exactly. And one of the things that helps you understand Apple's decision-making process is they are very, very good and almost unique in the industry at looking at the long game on every single aspect. They look ahead in the future, and I guarantee you, they have meetings and they say, okay, there are going to be large numbers of really, really horrible hacks where lots and lots of data. What are we going to say?
Yeah, what will be the
that's
response?
scenario one. We need to be ready for that. And then here's another scenario. There's going to be horrible terrorist attacks where catching the bad guy is going to involve using a phone. What are we going to say? So they have a story for both of those. The story on the one hand is that they ask for it, and it's illegal, and it's a warrant. We give it to them, give it to anything. The other thing is, we don't put things in the cloud. Cloud's dangerous. We keep everything on the phone and secure, all that. That's their story for that. But they're looking, and they know events will take place that will put them in the spotlight at some point. Meanwhile, what's the most secure device that is generally available to consumers? It's a Chromebook. It's all cloud.
Right.
And that's super, super secure because Google is super secure. And by the way, speaking of Google Plus's 5th year anniversary, I'm glad Sundar Pichai got hacked on Twitter and Quora because he's been using Twitter instead of his own Google Plus. And has Google Plus ever been hacked? No.
Well, the
How
reason
did Google Plus come back up again?
Do we know if Google? I mean, it might have been hacked. Who cares?
Well,
there's never been that false post in Sundar Pichai's account or more. But
well, if someone hacks your email account, they have access to your.
So we know how.
So it has been.
They
hacked.
just don't care.
We know how Sundar got hacked, and we know how Quora got hacked. Third-party apps that had been given permission to post on their behalf. So really,
never
their
use
account
third-party
wasn't
hats.
Their account wasn't fully hacked.
Hats or apps.
But somebody hacked a third-party app that had permission to post to their Twitter account and then use that to post.
Of which there are none for Google Plus, and we've been suffering from the lack of third-party integration.
By the way, so it's secure because they don't allow that.
Yeah,
exactly.
This happened to me recently, actually. A tweet went out from my account from the official Foursquare service that was gobbledygook, and so I was like, I haven't used Foursquare since I was 14.
I've had that happen too.
Yeah, and so I was very confused. So I went through to my Twitter account and tried to undo third-party app access, and over the years, it was 150 things that were allowed to post from my account. I killed all of them, of course, but it terrified me.
That is, by the way, the moral of that Sundar Pichai story, which is you should go through Facebook and Twitter and look at the app permissions and kill anything that you don't need.
It's not you should use Google Plus? Is the other one?
No, sadly. No one's given that advice ever.
Just checking.
I think that you can't pat Google and Plus on the back and say how secure it is because they don't allow write access to third-party apps.
I think the CEO of a company should eat his own dog food. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
well, fine, then Zuckerberg should use friend feed.
I'm eating his dog food. He should eat it too. That's all.
Incidentally, a story that came out a couple of days ago on the full disk encryption in Android. Most Android phones now are encrypted by default. All of Google's are. However, it turns out, and by the way, this post was complicated and somewhat above my pay grade, but according to this post, and I haven't seen anything to contradict it, they figured out how, using a flaw kind of in the way Qualcomm enables a secure store in the encryption, and there is a way, not an easy way, but there is a way. If you understand this chart, you too can crack.
Then you are Steve Gibson.
Then you
There's always a way.
There's always.
Well, people are like, well, our software is secure, but but is your hardware secure?
Yeah.
Are you building your own hardware?
think
There's always a way.
To Apple's credit, you can say there isn't a way to break Apple's into full disk encryption. Or I guess we know there is because the FBI got help, right? Is there? I don't know.
The NSA can do it.
Everything, the NSA should have.
Apple's done everything.
They've been writing about how they've had it. They just don't want to work with the FBI.
If you read this article, it does compare how Apple stores the encryption key versus how Google does it. And Apple does seem to have a better scheme than Google's scheme. This is Apple's scheme, involving something called entanglement.
Sounds complicated.
It tangles your password with another thing, and it's
sounds like an episode of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, right.
well, what a tangled web.
Battle of the entanglements.
Let's take a break. I want to talk about the new Facebook feed. I might have buried the lead. There's actually some very big stories that we didn't talk about, including, of course, the 5th anniversary of Google+.
Yeah, that's a huge story.
Cannot forget. Forget that. I want to talk about that. I'm talking, of course, about the Tesla fatality.
Yes.
And lots more. And this little public service announcement, whatever you do, don't eat gas station nougat. Our show today brought to you by Braintree. Braintree is the solution for the mobile app developer who wants to add payment to their apps. You know, I think if you're writing a mobile app and you want to have customers use your app to buy things, to pay for things, there's a couple of ways to address this. One would be to write a full stack solution yourself. I think if you're a developer, that's not the right way to do it. Not only is it hard to do, it's hard to do right unless you're really an expert. And even then, it's a pain because then somebody adds a new form of payment. You got to go back in the code and write the whole thing. So what you're probably going to want to do is go out and look and see what other people use. You might check, for instance, well, what's the best payment experience out there? Uber, right? Sure. It's great. You get out of the car, you're done. So what does Uber use, you might ask? Or what does Lyft use? Maybe you use GitHub. Of course you do. What is GitHub? These guys are smart. What would they use? What would Airbnb, Hotels Tonight? You know what? The answer is the same in every case. All of those services, Casper and Boxed and everybody, use Braintree. Buyable pins on Pinterest. This is amazing. This is everywhere. It's Braintree. Braintree payments, because it's a full stack solution, a few lines of code you can easily integrate. They keep it up to date. They're security experts. You don't have to worry about fraud. They've got full-time fraud protection built in. Your customers like it because they've used it before. They know it's safe. And when there's a new form of payment, it's easy. You flip a switch. You just click the box in your control panel. You put the new app out, and boom, you're done. Just update a few little things, and you're done. From pounds to PayPal, from Bitcoin to credit cards, Braintree does it all. In iOS and Android, in JavaScript. That means you can use it on the web too. .NET, Node.js, Java, Perl, PHP, Python, and Ruby. It is the best. I don't know if you're the decision maker in your team, but please bring this to the one who does, your program manager, your boss, whoever, your product manager, BraintreePayments.com/twit. And if they need a little more incentive, tell them, oh, and by the way, your first $50,000 in payments are fee-free. It's the best way. That's why everybody uses it. BraintreePayments.com/twit. to find out more. It's such a sad story. I don't want to make fun of the story in any way, but I do think this is, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, the first time an autonomous vehicle has killed a passenger.
Was it an autonomous vehicle?
It's semi-autonomous because it's autopilot. So you're supposed to be the driver is supposed to be in charge of the vehicle at all times. Blah 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 blah.
You're not supposed to be watching Harry Potter movies.
Exactly.
Tesla Model S. It was a very challenging situation, whether you're a human or a machine. Cruising down the highway, we know because he blew by a few other people who reported he was going at least 85 miles an hour, which is over the speed limit in that area.
Yeah.
A tractor trailer made a left turn across the freeway, and it was white. And according to Tesla's records, neither the driver nor the autopilot could see it. The brake was not applied. The car hit the tractor trailer at full speed. And it was an unusual situation for an autopilot because the tractor, as many trucks, in fact, this is against the law in Europe. I'm told they have to put baffles at the bottom of the truck. This truck was very high off the road.
That's why they do that. Okay.
So, yeah, that's why they do that, so that you can see it. So what it looked like perhaps to the autopilot is a sign, because it could see road and then there's something blocking it. That's pure speculation on my part. But for whatever reason, maybe it was the light. Tesla in their blog post said that it was a white truck. It was a bright, sunny day. Whatever reason, the brake was never applied. The car hit the truck, and the passenger was immediately killed. Chilling effect on autonomous vehicles, or
no? The opposite.
Business as usual. The opposite.
The opposite. Here's why. look at all the information that Tesla has about what happened. Okay,
I know, it's amazing. They know everything.
As we know with software in general and open source software in particular, if you're constantly refining, getting data in a good way, in a meaningful way, and refining what you do, this is how self-driving cars ultimately will be essentially perfected. Because this is something that would never
but nobody wants to be the one that died.
Well,
to make the self-driving car better.
But no one wanted to be the one who died when before we had anti-lock brakes, or no one had to be the one to die before we started using seatbelts.
And airbags became mandatory. And so,
this was clearly the driver's error. He was not supposed to be watching movies. He was supposed to be watching what he was doing.
To be fair, we don't know he was watching movies. The truck driver reported he heard the Harry Potter movie playing when he went back to see what was going on.
Not a bad signal that it was playing, but I mean,
I don't want to impugn the driver, and he had 8 tickets and blah blah blah. I don't want to impugn the driver.
You just did.
Wait, why don't you want to impugn the driver? I mean, besides the fact that he's dead. I mean, if you're driving a car and you don't know, and the brakes should be applied to avoid hitting something, it's your responsibility as a driver to apply those brakes.
He didn't. He didn't, because he trusted the car. Admittedly, made a mistake trusting the car.
But they've been very forthcoming. Do not trust the car, and especially if this person was a Tesla enthusiast, saying,
he actually posted a video to show how well the autopilot did. Tesla says, oh no, in fact, they have a lot of mechanical restrictions. You have to keep your hand on the wheel and blah, 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 or we're going to slow down. But a lot of that feels like legalese, like we got an autonomous vehicle. Don't trust it, whatever you do.
Semi-autonomous. There's a difference.
I understand.
To me, this
falls... But don't you think that scares people now? Because I'm thinking, but that's going to happen to me. See, here, I'll tell you why it's germane and why I don't want to impugn the driver. Because the truth is, most people say, I think autonomous vehicles are great for the other guys because they're crap drivers.
Yeah.
I am an excellent driver.
Right.
It's
cognitive bias.
That guy was a crap driver. Of course he died.
Yeah.
But I am an excellent driver. So I am not going to trust an autonomous vehicle because I'm a better driver than that.
That, Leo, is why we need to get to actual self-driving cars and stop farting around with exactly. Because people are delusional. That's why we can't trust them.
Is there anybody here who is not an excellent driver?
I am a bad driver.
You're pointing at the teenager in the crowd.
There's a consensus, actually.
All right, yeah. We know teenagers are bad drivers.
I'm an excellent driver.
Are you an excellent driver? I think you're an excellent driver.
My auto journalist friends say I'm an excellent driver.
Yeah, he's got a...
So that's
Alex, excellent driver?
I know I'm terrible. I don't pay attention at all. I'm just thinking about other things and singing along.
Oh, you know you're a bad driver.
Crap. I stopped driving for a reason. I was
you don't drive?
I haven't really in like 7-8 years.
Oh, well, okay.
Because I don't like it. It's very annoying.
So let me put it this way. Anybody who's still driving thinks they're an excellent driver.
Thank God for Uber, by the way.
Are you an excellent driver?
I'm probably a very safe driver. My wife tells me that I drive too slowly and stuff. My wife is an excellent driver, but I don't want to be driving. I want to be taking a nap and playing video games.
I do too, but will you now, looking at this, think, gosh, I hope no white trucks drive across the road?
No.
We're talking about, full autonomy is 10 years out into the future. Right now, we're just doing baby steps. The problem with what happened here is that it's the nightly news. The nightly news keeps saying autonomous driver kills man, and that's the
falsehood that is.
People are going to head like,
it's not
we
true.
Can't trust autonomous drivers.
True.
Well, first of all,
man who doesn't put brakes on when he goes barreling towards.
No, because the car
truck.
was in charge.
No, you're in charge. It tells you.
See, and there's another cognitive bias going on, which is that how many people are killed by other people. It's
Tesla pointed out this in the blog post that Teslas have driven cumulatively 130 million autonomous. No, million.
It was a million.
130 million autonomous miles
with all their cars.
This is the first fatality. They point out that in the U.S., that number is 96 million miles per fatality, and that in the rest of the world, it's 60 because
it's already safer.
In America, we're excellent drivers, but in the rest of the world, they're crap drivers.
No. They're better drivers abroad, but what they don't have is 6-lane highways. They have 2 lanes, and you'll have to pass in the oncoming traffic.
No, they're crap drivers. That's why. Fine. Have you ever seen how those other guys drive?
Leo, you're about to get invaded by the EU. Also, I want to just apologize. It was 130 million, not 130,000.
It's a lot.
I was incorrect by a factor of 1,000.
Well, we corrected you already, but thank you.
This is my formal apology. Yeah. I fact-checked you.
Apologize to the numbers.
I did.
But that's an important point. And in fact, somebody else told me when I was telling this story on the radio. Yeah, and also, in the weekend that's gone by since we heard this story, how many people have died on American highways? Thousands, literally. I think it's 36,000 a year. So this is going to get all the attention, even though many thousand more have died because they drove into.
That's why we must speak out, as we're doing so here today, Leo.
Autonomy.
We need to speak out in favor of autonomy, even semi-autonomy.
But aren't you going to be really scared when you get in that car and it drives?
Terrified?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you not going to like sweat and hold your hand over the?
Well, that's what you should be doing right now.
Right.
No, you know what? Google says we're not going to put a gas pedal, a brake pedal, or
yes,
steering
they will.
wheel.
Oh yeah. Well,
you know why? Because most of the time, when the driver takes over, they blow it.
They won't be allowed to do that.
Right now,
state of California will require.
But again, in 10 years, to Robbie's point, this is going to be amazing, awesome, and I can't wait.
Yeah.
Like to me, the future here is relatively obvious, and that's exciting. That gets me actually really stoked.
You won't own one. Nobody, car ownership will be like boat ownership. Like you have to be rich, enthusiast, and all that stuff. And they'll be cheap, and you just summon one with an app.
I don't think that's such a bad world. I think you're
right.
I think
It's a great world. Yeah.
I love driving. I despise commuting. I'm happy to drive outside the city and the mountains.
And I think that's where most of the Tesla autonomous miles are in stop and go traffic, because it will handle that quite well.
Yeah. Freeways are super not super easy. Freeways are easier. It's in the city. It's surface streets. That's where it's going to be super difficult for them, because you have everything coming at you.
When all vehicles are autonomous, it will be much. The truck, for instance, would not have made that turn.
Right.
And had it made that turn, it would have somehow communicated, presumably, to other vehicles in the area, hey, I'm stuck across the lane here. Yeah. Don't run into me. All autonomous would solve this also, right?
Right.
And complete networked capability of all the vehicles on the road, which is presumed in your model. But I totally agree. I mean, when all the cars can talk to each other and say, here's my exact GPS coordinates, I can see you, you can see me, we can talk, you have to really mess it up to maybe spearfish it, to use your earlier term, really hack at it to make it break. But I mean, that's awesome. And if it saves tens of thousands of lives a year and is just more convenient, then huzzah for the future.
Yeah.
I'm going to hack my self-driving car to make sure that if it's either the pedestrians or me, it's going to be the pedestrians that get it, because right now they.
The ethics of self-driving.
This comes up a lot.
The ethics of AI.
Selfish driving.
I have a contrarian point of view, and maybe it's just because I'm dumb. But
Apple's listening.
Wouldn't be the first time. So everybody's always talking about the ethics. Oh, the bus scenario, the trolley scenario,
the bridge or whatever it is. Yeah.
And how are you going to program that? And would anybody buy an autonomous vehicle that would sacrifice their life to save a busload of school children, et cetera, et cetera? And there's a lot of thought about, they must be working hard on this. Here's my thought. I bet they're not.
Well, there are universities that are working on it.
Yeah, let them work on it.
Mercedes is probably working on it.
If I am Mr. Autonomous Vehicle,
we're talking
Google,
that's like more of a middle ground.
They're thinking about it because
once
they're
everything's
ethicists.
autonomous, then everything's going to know the stop.
Here's what I would do. I'm writing the program for an autonomous vehicle. I'm just saying, do the best you can not to get
Try
into
to
accident.
save everybody.
Period.
Right.
You don't write in, but if that's a school bus full of children,
sorry, kids,
just go off the cliff.
Yeah.
You don't write that into the code.
with those comments, right? It's like,
you write, just do the best you can not to get in an accident. Period.
That's the ethics. Is doing the best you can.
See that code. Just do the best you can, computer. You only have two options, 1 or 0, but just pick the middle option.
No. The computer has a tree that says if there's something there, don't do that. You don't write into the tree, there's a bicyclist, he's wearing a helmet, hit him instead of the one not wearing it. Right. You don't write that into the code. You just write code that says, as best you can, do the best job you can.
Right. Extra points for the guy on the recline bike, right?
They don't put the
No, he gets hit every time.
Exactly.
The recumbent bicycles, that's shoot on sight in my books, yeah.
Oh.
Are there going to be death panels for car AI technology?
Are you the guy? So I'm riding my recumbent bicycle down the street the other day and somebody threw a water bottle at my head. Is that you?
I've been found out.
His car did it.
His car.
It has a little eject button. It's like,
out of the cup holder.
I would really like to hear from somebody who is actively involved in coding autonomous systems for vehicles. If they write in any kind of ethical conundrum crap, or they're computer programmers. They know. What are you talking about?
Do they have a point system for the value of various types of lives?
Someone else does that.
That's some guy in a university who never wrote a line of code in his life. He's just thinking about it. He's not writing it. If you're writing it, You just say, just do the best you can.
Yep.
Okay.
Just do your best.
But the definition of best is so fraught.
No, it's not. You know what the best is? Don't hit.
Okay,
their
good.
best
We
might
all
not be my
agree on
best.
point one, Leo. Wait, I shouldn't hit everyone that's alive? Yes, fantastic. But by point 57, which is where it gets actually complicated.
Isn't that your rule, though, in life? You don't hit stuff. So if there's something coming at you, you're not making the calculation, well, if I turn to the left, I'll kill 4 people. If I turn to the right, I'll kill 1 person. If I hit that thing, it'll just kill me. You jam the freaking brakes on.
And then you get hit from,
Yeah, but you don't think about that. You just jam on the brakes and hope they'll
Yeah, you just jam on the brakes, and all of a sudden, bam, you have a CS degree, and Leo was your professor. You just tell it to do the best it can, guys. Come on, you just code it in. It's easy.
So here's this scenario.
There's no ethics in computer programming.
You're on a cliff, and there's a bunch of hikers in the road, and your only you can't stop in time, and your only choice is either drive off the cliff or plow through the hikers. Like, that's a scenario where it's like doing the best you can. The best you can means you drive off the cliff.
No, it means you jam on the brakes and you hope for the best.
But
You do not actively put a line of code that says, "Oh, don't hit those guys. Drive off the cliff."
You're
You do
imagining
not.
a world where there aren't blind turns, where
They write code that handles the best they can.
But if you're doing 60 around a blind turn and there's something in the way and you don't have a choice, which is why people hit tons of deer every year. They're doing the best they can.
Right.
But they still plow into that deer. They
you
still
should teach-
stomp on that brake.
That's
they
as
still
good as
roll
you
their
can
car.
hope for.
You should teach a class on the ethics, and it would be like a Trump seminar. It'd be like 2 hours in and out.
Look, this car is really great.
We need
it's not going to
autonomous
hit
deer.
anything. Autonomous deer would
See,
solve
that's
the problem.
amazing. Just network them in.
Because then they would network.
Deer ahead.
And why did Google sell Boston Dynamics? Here was the opportunity. I think we all.
You know why? Because they didn't go all in.
Going back to the empathy point from before about robots and humanizing technology, there was something funnier happening before we interrupted it. I forget what it was now. Dang. Oh, Trump. Yes, that was hilarious. Well done. Good
Thank you.
reference.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that back.
Oh,
We
gotta
had
get the
moved
Trump
on.
fans in the chat. We have live chat here.
You know when Google sold the Boston Dynamics?
You can see they're already getting tired of it.
When this
robot.
video
Oh,
aired
gosh, this one again.
is when Google sold Boston Dynamics.
You feel bad for the robot though every time.
Maybe we
you're
shouldn't
like,
have
"Oh."
these guys in
The
the same
guy
building
hits
as us.
the robot with a 2x4 and knocks it over.
But watch this. It gets up. It's resilient. It takes no for an answer.
And you know what it does? It remembers.
You're on my
never
list.
forget.
You're on my list.
I'm leaving.
Let's back to iCloud, of course.
I'm going to another company.
That's when Google. I'm telling you, that's when Google sold Boston Dynamics. Is when that video, not because they didn't understand it, but because they went, oh crap, perception is
That was bad.
everything.
They should have kept them because then they would kind of apologize. Now I think Toyota owns them or invested in them, so Toyota can be like, you know what? Google's been working on these cars.
All these robots.
Send some of these guys over there. Bust them up a little bit.
All these robots were
them up.
designed for the military, and and then when Google bought them, they said, "Okay, we're not going to do military applications." And then so everybody in the robotics department said, "Well, what are we doing these for?" And the Pentagon said, "Well, we need a robots company to throw
And
billions of
by
dollars."
the way, you have a contract that says
Right.
you're going to continue
Right.
to do this.
Also, their first commercial model, the little rabbit-sized one, was too loud. Right? It was a problem. It was just too noisy.
It had a diesel engine.
Yeah. It's like this stealth robot that's like, I'm here. I have arrived.
But they got quieter.
It had a two-stroke engine.
Just shooting oil into the sky.
Either there's a robot coming to
Shoveling
kill
coal
me,
into
or
it.
somebody's leaf blowing
Right, exactly.
on the battlefield.
But it's
one or
June.
the other.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. There's no leaves. Where were we?
Malik writing in the New Yorker. You come on, admit it, guys. You're pissed.
About the
Malik retreats. He sells Giga becomes a venture capitalist, and he still gets to write for the New Yorker.
I know.
You're pissed.
I am
No,
pissed for
he's
sure.
too nice.
Yes. Yeah.
I love
absolutely.
but come on.
Yeah.
He shouldn't get to write for the New Yorker.
No.
now.
leave some for the rest of us.
Leave some for the rest of us. Thank you.
Chill.
Yeah,
Come on.
Stop
Yeah.
owning the world, So this is an article came out yesterday. Facebook's news feed often changed, never great.
Yes.
Nice. That's well done.
That's some journalism right there.
And I don't think when you write for the New Yorker that some other person writes your headline. I think you get to write your headline, don't you?
Probably not.
No, it's the most heavily fact-checked publication in the history of mankind.
But most
they-
newspapers, you don't write your headline.
That's a good
right?
3 days of talking
Yeah.
about your
Right.
headline. Back and forth.
people with actual pencils.
What?
Facebook's
Yeah, they have
announcement this week that it would tweak its news feed. Does it have a nude feed? Because that's the.
It does if you're following the right people.
Not on Facebook. It felt all too familiar. Facebook makes changes. People howl. Fortunes are lost. Facebook gets stronger. But then Facebook reconsiders and starts tweaking its feed again. Repeat, repeat, repeat. And that's exactly what's happening. This time, Facebook announced this week, oh, guess what? You know, we were saying to the Washington Post and the New York Times and BuzzFeed and Vice, you should publish all your content on Facebook. It'd be a really great place for you to reach viewers. Guess what? We're going to prioritize our feeds for posts from your friends and family. Forget it, you guys. Now, first of all, this must have come as a surprise to people who joined Facebook and thought that's why they joined Facebook, to see posts from their friends and family.
Those people.
And so they got Up Rocks, Upworthy, and the bad side of BuzzFeed.
Yeah. And by the way, I think they really did do it, because I notice in my Facebook feed, I'm seeing people I friend mostly.
My Facebook feed is a garbage fire right now.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's the same 4 posts just at the top of the feed.
How do you find it?
Every day. It's just the same 4.
Facebook.com. Do you have a browser on there?
It's on your internet.
Mine's turned off.
Turn on the internets.
No, my feed's turned off.
All right. So there's my sister-in-law and brother-in-law. They're at a ball game. There I am with Michael O'Donnell and Brownie Rainbows.
Somebody tagged you.
Yeah.
Don't say Brownie.
Here's
though.
my wife posting pictures of berries that she's going to apparently graze for a while at. That's on the way to work. She must have walked to work.
Who says the blackberry is dead?
Yeah. Here's one of our employees.
The momentum of the show has declined a little bit, I feel.
So I haven't seen any news. There's my first high school girlfriend.
Aw.
Ever wonder what she's been up to?
That's creepy.
I've never actually thought about your former girlfriends in my life.
There's a guy I used to know, Mike Elgan, and his serial number.
Yeah.
Oh.
I glimpsed the trip all the way from Santa Barbara.
You drove
today.
here from Santa Barbara?
Yes. Oh well, I'm flying out of here tomorrow. It wasn't just for you.
You had to come up here anyway.
I would have done it just for you, Leo, but I didn't.
That's a long trip.
It was great.
Here's the guy who used to do I Can Has Cheeseburger, now just does boring posts about
Oh, Ben,
nothing.
Huh?
Careful.
No, I love Ben. I love Ben. Don't you think, though, a lot of times people who are really boring wear white glasses frames to look like they're hip?
Ryan Lawler wears clear frames.
I just feel like that's a designery
really
thing to do, wear a scarf.
Now I'm going to get in trouble.
Infinity scarf.
Anyway, so what happened if you're a news organization? Are you now going, what the what? We're all in on Facebook.
Well, everyone's been sort of scammed by Facebook. Businesses were scammed because they were told to make pages, and then your pages, when you post something.
And they stopped showing them.
And then suddenly those stopped.
Yeah.
Musicians, the same thing. They've had the same problem.
Yeah.
Imagine you're a little company called Zynga, and you've built $1 billion business on Farmville.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, Facebook doesn't do that no more.
Yeah. So they get everyone in. They're like, come and do this thing. Do this thing.
Right.
It's awesome. Well,
I want to meet the guy
audience.
who wrote Super Poke.
They'll be awesome.
Where is he now?
Oh, poor Super Poke.
Poor Super Poke.
And then they're like,
good
we're not
idea.
going to do that. And then those people are just like, well, now we're there, and we kind of have to stay here because it is
Everybody's
Facebook
here.
and everyone's here.
Right.
And every once in a while, Facebook will appease the
That's
users
exactly
and say,
what it is.
oh, you know what? We're going to make it so it's just you and your friends. It's just your friends and family. All that other stuff, you're not going to see. Well, I mean, you are going to see the ads that we're using.
Oh, yeah, you'll always see those.
You're going to see all those ads. And of course, if those pages are if they want to give us money to post their to boost their post, you'll see those. But really, it's just about
owning
It's
your
about you
own
and your
platform.
friends.
It's about
Yeah.
owning your. It's the Apple Music, Spotify thing again.
Bait and switch.
When you depend on someone else's platform, they can change the rules, and you can be materially impacted.
And yet,
that
it's
ship has
so
sailed.
attractive and so desirable. You keep. It's
Doing
like Charlie Brown in the football. Lucy, as many times
Exactly.
as Lucy yanks that football away, you're going to go back and try to kick it because it will feel so good when you hit it, when you finally.
And the
get to
general
hit it.
public doesn't see social networking and social media as a platform that they don't see themselves as content creators or any of that stuff. They just say, "Oh, well, that's where people are." I find out about people, but here's
That's what everybody thinks Facebook is.
Here's the thing that bugs me about all this. So essentially, what happened was they made this big. So I wrote a column about this. Is like social media and social networking. Social networking is kind of on the decline, and social media is on the rise because it's easier to get more money out of social media. It's easier to get more money when the New York Times has fast mobile pages and all that kind of stuff. And so
Facebook, which was created as a social network,
right, is now
said,
turning
"Wait
to
a minute, we
social
should
media."
really be a news source."
Exactly. So what happened was it became everybody started talking about Facebook as a social media platform that they were paying publishers to do this, paying publishers to do that, favoring publishing, and people were like, Well, you know, it was bad press essentially.
Well, and also it bit him in the butt because then conservatives said, "Oh no,
that's right.
You're pulling down. You're espousing your political beliefs through manipulation of the news feed."
Exactly, but the real criticism,
I don't think they were doing.
The real criticism was the lack of transparency.
Right.
And that is exactly what it bugs me about this whole story. So in the spirit of transparency, they came out with a bunch of BS. That means nothing. They said, "Oh, we're really about this, that, and the other thing." You don't know. For example, let me just. So there's social media that's put on the network by the social media. The New York Times puts an article there. Okay, there's also Uncle Fester can put a New York Times article there. Right. Are they favoring that when it comes from Uncle Fester now? We don't know. There's no transparency. I don't see any news
articles anymore in my Facebook feed. They're all gone.
Okay,
even Uncle Fester.
They change their algorithm every day,
every minute.
Right, and
this is what I think. Ohm made a very good point. He says Google interacts with users via search. Those signals are strong. They're good. They're powerful. They're useful for the most part. Facebook interacts with its users via its news feed. He says that feed, it's a random collection of events, information from acquaintances, news links, videos, photos, all sorts of stuff, including advertising. These create a large number of variables. It makes it difficult for the company, Facebook, to create a perfect personal experience and still meet its corporate objectives. Its artificial intelligence is clearly not intelligent enough.
Right.
It's just too stupid.
Right.
It's too hard to do what it's doing.
Right.
So it's never going to get better?
It is always getting better for Facebook. Because if you look at the numbers, the amount of time that people spend on Facebook, it always goes up, and they're light years ahead of everyone else in terms of the amount of time. The only thing that even comes close is YouTube.
So it is working for them.
It's working for them. Oh, yeah. This whole system is working for them.
Even changing it constantly works for them.
Because it doesn't.
What works?
Because they've already got all the people on there. So you just keep changing. You're like,
choice.
"Oh, we'll change it. We'll make it a little different." And you're like, "Oh, well, now we'll have, more people will go back to Facebook who may have left Facebook." But the reality is, we're all opening. I mean,
they see the needle moving and they get in front of it with their algorithm.
At some point, there going to be some user fatigue where people will go, "I don't know what I'm going to get on my Facebook feed. I give up."
Not by their billions. I mean, I think there will always be people people do that all the time. Some people even quit Facebook.
But in the net, it doesn't make any
difference. But in general,
so.
people go to Facebook and it's pretty satisfying to see what's going on there when they see what they see.
Because Facebook knows how satisfying it is based on how long you stay.
Exactly, and they're always going to keep tweaking
so they
that.
just keep tweaking it.
Yeah.
In fact, Ohm says at the end, he says, in what might have been a rare bit of unintentional corporate honesty, Facebook's Mosseri wrote, "We view our work as only 1% finished." So even though we're confusing users, we don't seem to have a very good handle on this. And Ohm writes, in deciding to prioritize one kind of post over another for reasons that seem to have little to do with what individuals are asking for, Facebook is once again confusing its users, and it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
The 1% thing is not a new trope. I mean, Google has said for years they're about 1% done with search. We're only starting on this pathway towards
Google's
search.
still in beta, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's obviously not. And so I feel like it's a cheap way to say, like, we're still figuring things out, when in reality you do have a very large, I think, more requirement to your 1.65 billion monthly actives.
Google's referring to the 1% of the information out there that they haven't indexed. They're referring to the 1% of your time that they've got now, and they want 100% of your time. And it's great for them because it's ultimately about ad dollars, and every time they get 5 more minutes of your time, it's 5 less minutes that you're spending on Google or somewhere else.
They're buying market and mind share at the same time.
Exactly.
So next month, are they going to do something different?
Oh, probably.
Yep. Yes.
I mean,
yes,
I bet this Twit segment has happened 25 times over the last 8,000
it
shows.
has.
Yeah. Because I mean, this is Facebook trying to win.
What's funny is I remember when they started prioritizing news and they did their instant articles and I Jeff Jarvis said, yeah, get in there. It's a land grab. Every news source in town should do it. Look how great Vice and BuzzFeed have done based on this. BuzzFeed, Jonah Peretti even said, we don't have a website anymore. Mm-hmm. We just make articles. Of course, BuzzFeed doesn't make money on its articles. They make money selling viral videos to companies, right? That's kind of where their profit center is. I think it's not really.
I think they make all their money on their animal vertical.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I've heard stories about the animal vertical at BuzzFeed is
so hot.
And when I go to BuzzFeed, I'll read like a really well-reported article from the tech team or the political team, and then I immediately go to the animal thing and just like browse like 5 cats.
Yeah,
it's funny that you should say that because
7 dogs who look like they're from Westeros or something.
But BuzzFeed News and News with a capital N does do a hell of a job.
They do. They do an amazing job.
Their official news team is fantastic.
Right.
So I'll make sure that's out there.
They're going after the whole demographic.
Perfect example.
Amazing job.
I went to read John Pachkowski. They hired one of the best journalists away from Recode. Great guy. Apple slams Spotify. I went to read that. Oh, wait a minute. I got to turn my ad blocker off to get the full effect here. And then of course you would think, because I've come here to read news, that there would be more news articles to follow. But no, it's how to conquer Southwest Florida in a weekend. 14 travel hacks.
That's just 3 bottles of tequila in a shot.
Yeah,
there's news right
At least
there.
120 people killed in a bombing in Baghdad in the news today. Or would you rather read, he thinks he's untouchable, sexual harassment case exposes renowned Ebola scientist.
I read that it was depressing.
That's actual news.
No, it was news.
Where's my animal vertical? I want more animals.
Go to the top. Go to the top.
It's up at the top?
Go to the top.
This is BuzzFeed 101.
Oh, that was my mistake. I went to the bottom.
More.
12 signs your cat is
They don't
actually
even-
your child.
Exactly. See, click on more.
Wait a minute.
No, click on
I
that
want to
one.
read 12
wanna
signs
read
my
that
cat
now.
is actually my child.
I've been snookered
And
into
then go to the
this. Come on.
analytical vertical. Boom.
The
your
analytical
day is-
vertical?
Your day is set.
Oh, I'm already
That's
happier.
it.
There's
It's
a
a
pet
puppy or a-
feed.
It's a puppy.
That's
or
it.
a polar
It's both
bear.
lol
Boom.
and win. OMG.
14 dog snaps. Your dog would definitely send on the 4th
See?
of July.
You're set for the weekend.
22 dogs. Wait a minute. Here's a trending article.
Click on it.
22 dogs were too awkward for their own good.
I already looked at this, by the way. I already read this article. I'm not kidding.
Robbie, look, it's you at the
Every
club.
time I see
that is me at the
every
club.
time I see stuff like this, I think, why did I do Twit? Why did I build this empire?
Right.
Why do I even bother?
Look at that dog.
I mean, they have Leo's high school yearbook photo. How fantastic is that?
What's his tongue? His tongue is. Oh Lord! Every time, I would make so much more money if I just did this.
Yeah.
Why am I covering tech news?
Because Ben-Hur already tried making money off this.
Oh, Ben's probably just retired, traveling the world, enjoying life.
I thought that was Mike's job.
This week in clickbait.
That'd be Twit.
But it's not clickbait because it delivers on the promise. If it delivers,
We need another
Why do
word.
they even bother having news? Because that's how they got me.
Right.
Because
And then
they're-
I went to the
yeah.
animal
Because
vertical.
editorial's worth the money it costs.
yep. They are.
So
yeah.
say the two people that
They are the. Yeah, I know. Please don't take our
Are
jobs.
you?
They are. They have the television model. Like TV, 90% of television is crap. You have reality TV.
Right,
You have
right.
really
And that's
bad
what people really
sitcoms,
watch, even though they
and
deny
then
it.
You watch 60 Minutes
Yeah.
or 2020
Right, but
or
but people don't
Frontline
realize
or the
it's
news.
important.
You know, Charlie Rose. You watch these like little
Yeah.
itty bitty segments, but they don't make any money. They make
power
all
is-
the money on those horrible reality TV shows.
So
and
essentially,
sitcoms.
you at BuzzFeed, Alex at Mattermark, you're like the
I'm at Engadget.
again Gadget. You're like same thing. Doesn't matter.
He spends his
Why
time
do you
on
even make the
BuzzFeed.
I spend
distinction?
my time on
Why do you
BuzzFeed.
even make the distinction? You're like the barkers in front of a strip club. You're
Come on.
You're not the actual live nude girls, but you're the guy in front who says, "Come on in,
Excuse
kid.
me.
Hey, kid, come on in here. You're gonna love it. What you see? How about a little news before you go in there? I got a review of the droid.
Would you
Turbo.
like some
You're gonna
financial
love.
analysis before you go inside?
Read the yeah.
And this is why we don't have friends, but yes, that's a very apt analogy. Well done, Leo.
that's-
You-
yeah.
You've cracked the code.
But and my mistake, idiot that I am, I'm all Barker, no nude girls.
Oh.
I don't got no animal.
You need a
vertical.
show that's just animals.
I think they're both the nude girls and the Barker. But when they write the headline, they have to be the Barker. Like, we're all pushed by our editors, I
That's
think,
true.
to do a headline that's
true.
It's not clickbait exactly, but does exactly the things that clickbait does.
15 reasons
gotta
why
get 'em
you're
in.
going to love the new Droid Turbo.
And ultimately, as Lindsay Turntine always likes to say, editor-in-chief over at CNET, clickbait just means you're trying to get them to read the article. That's what a headline is for. It's supposed to do that.
It's always been with a headline.
It's a
but that's
fine
all
line.
headlines.
Yeah.
It's a fine
You
line.
know,
It's newspaper.
headless body.
But it is,
found
it's a
in
fine
topless
line. You have to,
bar.
like-
That's
Yep.
That's
that's
still a classic.
yeah.
Yeah. When I click on something and it doesn't deliver what is promised, I get so mad.
Right. Exactly.
I get
And
so
that's
upset.
what, technically, that's what clickbait
So-
is. If
yeah.
it doesn't.
So
it's
this
bait,
is
it's
okay
unlike
'cause it
this.
delivers.
This is
It
fine.
says exactly what it is.
Look at that
These are
dog.
19 photos of dogs.
Look at him.
Hashtag squad goals.
That's your new show.
That's
You're
a
just
funny
like
dog.
scrolling through pictures of puppies
We
looking awkward.
were going to do that. We actually did a show. We were going to do the best parts of Reddit.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
right?
I have some submissions for that one.
Yeah, but except that we realized everybody just goes to Reddit to do that. You don't really
That's
need
what Reddit
You don't
is.
need a show for that.
Right.
They already got it. It's called Reddit.
It's called Reddit.
It'd be like a separate site for top 10 BuzzFeed lists.com.
Top 10 BuzzFeed list. It's got to be an odd number.
11.
There you go.
What time is it?
This is so mean to the audio audience because we're just sitting here giggling at bad dog photos. Our show today, it's time to do an ad. I want to thank Alex Wilhelm and Roberto Baldwin and Mike Elgan. You guys are great. Always fun to have you here. Our show today brought to you by Wealthfront. You know, is kind of everybody knows they need to save, right? I mean, you got to save. You got to save for the future. You got to save for your rainy day. You got to save for your digital nomadic life coming up. You got to save for college. But the problem is how? Do you just put the money under your mattress? You put it in a bank? You might as well put it under a mattress. You put it in a bank, you get nothing. Nothing. So everybody says, all right, well, I know how you do it. You invest. Yeah, but there's where your troubles begin. Are you going to go out, buy the library books, read all about it, and learn how to invest, but to buy out all the common, all the wisdom of the world, and then you take your money and you open an account at Schwab and you start investing, and then about 10 years later you go, oh, I forgot. Wonder how those investments are doing, and the shock sets in. Okay, no, we're not going to do that, right? All right, you're going to hire an investment advisor. Some smart cookie got a office in the strip mall downtown. And this guy, man, he knows what he's doing, right? That's why he has an office in the strip mall downtown, because he is a genius at investing. And this guy is going to charge you 1 or 2 or 3% of everything that he manages for you every single year, which means this genius is getting you in a stock. By the way, he might be getting a commission. He's certainly getting a little transaction fee and 3%. And if that stock doesn't do 3% better than anything you pick, you just lost your money. So there is a better way. I'm telling you all the ways that people do it. Don't do it that way. Go to wealthfront.com. Wealthfront.com is amazing. It's a computer software designed by some of the best minds. The guys who wrote those books you bought, like this one, A Random Walk Down Wall Street, own it, Burton Malkiel. Charles D. Ellis is Winning the Losing Game. Great books. They take that knowledge, they encapsulate it into the software. And the nice thing about software doesn't charge you. Software is cheap. It doesn't work for 1%, 2%, or 3% a year of what 1/4 of 1% a year. 1/4 of 1% a year. You could start investing as little as $500, but I'm going to tell you something else. I don't want you to invest. I want you to go to wealthfront.com and read up. Read up. You can take advantage of some free stuff. For instance, you can go through the question process. And by the way, they've got a very simple process. They've really got it down. Not dozens of questions, some simple questions to identify risk aversion and long-term goals. And then they'll give you a free portfolio. They'll say, okay, this is what we'd invest in. Thank you. That's free. That's free. They will even let you enter in all your existing accounts and tell you what you're spending on fees, how diversified it is. So they'll give you some real information about what you're doing. All that's for free. Read up about it. They just introduced, by the way, their 529 college savings plans, which is a really good way to save for college. You can invest after-tax dollars. It's like a Roth IRA, and save for a child or grandchild's higher education expenses. Wealthfront now has $3 billion in client assets. It's growing really, really fast because this is a better way. I don't know if you saw the article in Wall Street Journal. The storefront brokers, even the big brokerages in Wall Street, are terrified of Wealthfront because you know what, it works. And they have no way to fight it. It's Wealthfront. Find out more, wealthfront.com/twit. What they're going to do for you, I don't want you to buy right away. I want you to read up. But if you decide to invest, you could start with as little as $500. And your first $15,000 is free of charge for life. Not 1/4 of 1%, but free forever. Now, that's a great way to start that college savings plan, that nest egg. Or your retirement fund or your rainy day fund. Wealthfront.com/twit. Aw. Look at the little puppy in sneakers. Aww. I don't think dogs would wear leather shoes, though. Maybe. I don't know.
It'd be a high form of irony, I feel.
He's a husky. He's a carnivore. Here's a dog in the laundry. Aw. Isn't it cute when dogs help?
Tomorrow morning, people are going to commute or be commuting and just hear us talking about cute dogs while they're stuck in traffic.
Is it as good to talk about cute dogs as it is to see them? I don't think so.
No, you got to see them.
This is why I can't compete with BuzzFeed. That's why Jonah Peretti's raking in the big bucks.
Dollar bill, y'all.
Winner, chicken dinner. I can do that too, you know. Robots are taking divorce lawyers' jobs. I don't care. Good. I don't care.
Don't show that to my wife, please.
You're married?
No, your wife. That was me being you. My Leah wasn't very
I
convincing.
didn't mean to be that surprised. I apologize. That's probably pretty insulting, right?
Like, wait, who would put up with that?
Yeah.
A person, huh?
Robot.
I don't know. I don't think there's any other stories worth... Windows 10th anniversary. I mean, Windows 10 anniversary update. I mentioned that, though.
Yes.
August 2nd.
Yep.
350 million devices, and they're still acting like a carnival barker saying, come on, you want to upgrade, don't you? You want to upgrade. I know you do. Come on in. Come on. They're naked inside. You're going to love it.
I'm just imagining that
in
Frank Shaw's voice, or Sergeant Nadella, or Terry Myerson saying that out loud.
Come on.
They're in a pickle, though, because their users don't see any reason to upgrade. They don't want to upgrade, and their developers must see an upgrade, or the platform is, so
as much as 350 million users sounds, it's only less than, it's like a little more than a quarter of all Windows users. It's like it's still a fraction.
Yeah.
They're still ahead of schedule, though. If you look just mathematically at the
fine.
devices per year they have to hit, but of course it's easier to sign up devices when you're selling them upgrades for free. So the question is how much
and forcing them on people.
Did you see the
also a different story,
Raspberry Pi that defeated the Air Force Colonel jet fighter pilot?
Maybe he was just really bad. Because he's a colonel doesn't mean he could have failed up.
He's
Maybe
retired.
he had chocolate first.
Yeah, a little rusty.
Gino Lee. It's in a simulator. Of course, they didn't do this in a real airplane because that would have been not a good idea. But
you can't wear a tie in a real airplane like that.
The pilot AI was running on a Raspberry Pi, and they pitted it against a professional fighter pilot with decades of experience, a series of flight combat simulations. The AI successfully evaded Gino and shot him down every time. Colonel Lee, called it the most aggressive, responsive, dynamic, and credible AI I've seen to date.
Skynet.
Yep.
And yet they can't get the AI to fix the Facebook newsfeed.
This is why I'm not afraid of AI. If it's so bad at doing very mundane tasks like newsfeed management.
It's easier to do a dogfight than it is to manage.
It's easier to hunt you down and kill you than it is to show you relevant posts on Facebook.
There are actually two levels to this story, though, in terms of military technology. On the one hand, they're outgunning a human. But then the other thing is that one of the problems with human pilots is the planes are so fast, turn so sharp, they need special suits so they don't pass out.
Yeah.
Machines, they don't have any of those problems. You could invent a plane that just does crazy turns that would kill a human.
Yeah. Geez, you just pass out.
Yeah, exactly. So,
called predator
AI
drones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but they don't. Predator drones don't dogfight. So
they just kind of
dogfighting AI makes, it's inevitable. It's absolutely going to happen.
Yeah. And then we just have planes in the sky fighting with each other, robot planes.
Yeah, but is there an ethical conundrum? Because we as a rich nation will have these. No humans will have to be put at risk. But meanwhile,
is it a deterrent?
The bad guys who are poor but
how often do we
angry.
War's already unfair. We have nukes, they don't.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
Also, I mean, how many...
That's probably a good thing, right? That's
when
a
it comes to
dogfighting. That's why non-proliferation is an entire...
Who are we dogfighting with anymore?
Yeah, we don't do dogfights.
Yeah. When the AI can...
If a Raspberry Pi can win, it's like, forget it.
Well, forget it.
It's like $5.
Well, when the
That's
AI
why I stopped playing Go. And it's like, what's the point?
If the AI can, determine and stop ISIS... That's when it becomes, when it can, okay, this is what they usually do. This is their MO. All right, now we can figure out how they're doing.
ISIS is more like the Facebook newsfeed. A lot harder.
Yeah.
Mutating, hard to kill, and somehow part of our lives.
Yeah.
I tend to think that the Facebook newsfeed is more like ISIS. That's just
I think that's true.
So the headline for the show is Facebook is ISIS?
Yeah.
Facebook.
There we go. Good.
I'm sure that'll be fine.
Gizmodo really rubbing salt in the wound. Can you tell which of these baseball stories was written by a robot? Can't tell, but that's baseball stories. That's not the kind of stuff you guys write.
So there was a bot that came out that did financial reporting. It would take a financial quarterly report and distill it down to the core facts.
How did it do?
It does okay.
Yeah,
but I got kind of sad. I'm like, dang, I get paid to do that.
Yeah.
And then I realized all it could do was the stuff that was actually the most boring part of my job, which is grabbing certain numbers and putting them into little boxes. And so for me, just personally, I'm like, hell yeah, I take the drudgery out of my life and I can do more creative stuff on top. Great. If that's where we get the products too. But for now, I'm just not concerned because humans can't write. So humans that can't write, telling computers how to write don't really scare me.
Yep.
Those financial reports, whenever someone hands me, my editor's like, hey, can you do
that to the AI?
Can you do the Apple financials? I'm like, no.
I'll do it for you. I miss it.
If I could get a robot to do it.
You don't get to do that anymore?
And
I do broader macro reports.
And then maybe throw a kicker at the end, like a joke, and then I'm done. Get the robot to do it.
So So Crackberry. So
what?
Oh no,
Crackberry. Remember that?
I love them.
So there's a Bomble, which is another blog, reprinted an email that was sent to Senate staffers, saying BlackBerry has informed Verizon and AT&T that they are not going to make BlackBerry 10 devices, OS 10 devices anymore. They've been discontinued. Future carrier order fulfillment will not be guaranteed. BlackBerry device support will continue for the foreseeable future, but we have this many BlackBerry devices left. Staffers, after that, I'm sorry, you're going to have to use a Samsung Galaxy S6. Oh.
And the day before Canada Day, too.
Yeah, right before Canada
That's
Day.
a low blow.
So BlackBerry responds, no, we're not. No, we're not. The statement about the discontinuation, they really shaded it here. The statement about discontinuation of BlackBerry 10 at AT&T Verizon, it's incorrect. BlackBerry's device strategy is based on a cross-platform model where we'll continue to support our BlackBerry 10 platform while expanding our device offer to include Android-based devices. We are focused on software updates for BlackBerry 10.
You know, I love it that it's the government that's the last group really holding on to BlackBerry, because you know it's going to be the people writing out the technology rules that are still using old technology, because they're going to be the least informed, the least up to date, and the most.
You know, the
ossified.
staffers were going, yes.
Yeah.
I use a BlackBerry 10 for DEF CON.
Oh, that's smart.
I have a Q10.
Yeah.
That's smart.
That's my burner phone. It
Not
has
that
a
it's not
burner account.
hackable, just nobody cares.
Yeah, if anything gets hacked on, it doesn't matter. It's a
Big deal.
burner count. It's burner, like everything on there, it's burner.
Well, taking your actual stuff to DEF CON is like a death wish.
Yeah, I don't take this. I have like Faraday cages and stuff.
Do you have a computer to take when you travel abroad to countries you don't really trust, like Russia or China?
Well, I haven't gone to Russia or China, but I do have a burner.
The real concern is not in country. The real concern is crossing the border, where they take your electronics. Excuse me, but we need to
We need to check.
we need to check this for a moment. Stay right there, and then they come back a minute later, and you don't know what the hell they did, but they probably put a keystroke logger in there.
Yeah, all they gotta do is put the USB.
Excuse me, what does remote access Trojan mean? Is it?
That's when you go to your hotel and just type in "death to the government" 85 times until
what
they show up at your hotel
Oh
room.
my God, no, that's not what you do.
That's not the good test.
No.
I think it would work.
I have pictures of Scarlett Johansson.
When you leave the United States, you realize that others. Yeah.
No, but that
finish
really
that
is a
sentence?
concern.
I just.
And now you come into the U.S. Now you don't have to worry about that, but you might have to start worrying about that. If you're a foreign national coming to the U.S., they ask you for your social media accounts.
You know,
or they're gonna. They want to anyway.
As you know, I went to Cuba, and I actually thought it'd be so smart for Cuba to look up the social media activity of people coming to the country, because if they've seen what I've written about Cuba, they would not let me in.
But they
didn't.
Sure.
They didn't. No, they didn't.
Well, you might get it the other way.
Exactly, and that's bad. That's such
leaving.
yeah. Exactly.
Excuse me, what is Twitter account, please?
Mine's what the hell is your handle?
Mine's
Straight
at
string
Alex.
See,
that's why you have a different.
Oh, did you invent Twitter?
It's like no, I'm poor.
Yeah.
I have at Roberto Baldwin. There's like no
Do you?
tweets on it. I just tell.
What's your actual handle? It's like STRNGWYS.
It's a Smith song. You had to be
It's
there.
a reference to a Smith song.
You had to be there.
I wasn't there.
No, you weren't even born.
You don't even know what Devo is. I'm still
Doesn't know where Devo.
confused.
I apologize for my lack of cultural awareness.
Alex Wilhelm is not a man. He is Devo.
Really nice.
He is actually at mattermark.com, where he is the ego in chief.
Close enough.
He's at Alex on the Twitter. It's so great to have you. Thank you
Always
for
good to be
coming
here.
in your pink San Francisco Chronicle Come Out t-shirt.
Indeed.
We come out every day. Now, did you work at the Chronicle, or you just
My friend is the editor of the business section.
Love that shirt.
So.
That's nice. Didn't have to be pink, though. That's kind of insulting.
It was a gift. I did not look it in the mouth.
Okay.
Horse teeth mouth thing, you know.
Roberto Baldwin is the lead singer of a Prince tribute band. No, that's not true. That's not true.
No, that is true.
Is it true? Okay.
Yeah.
He's the lead singer of a Prince tribute band,
And
among other things.
Among other random bands that I'm in. I'm in a lot of bands.
Friday, where?
Friday at the Rickshaw Stop.
I've got to go.
Doors at 9 o'clock. Rickshaw Stop. $12. 18 and over. It's an 18 and over show.
I'd love to
so
see
if you have
that.
any,
I'd love to see. Well, that just means you can drink.
Yeah. Well,
love
do they
to
have
see
like I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they figure out who's who. Probably with IDs, I suppose.
IDs. There's a way.
I've heard
They
about
check
that.
your Twitter feed.
Yeah, but yeah, Rickshaw Stop Friday.
Nice.
You like Prince? There's gonna Danger Makers open for us. They're a big local band.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
Sounds like a great show.
I'm gonna scream and go.
A lot.
Senior editor at Engadget as well, and you can find him most days reading the animal feed from.
Yeah. Like, where's that article? I'm like, hold on, I'm looking at.
I'm looking at the animal vertical. Mike Elgan, I'm sad to say, is here and now he's gone again, as always.
Yes.
He is in town briefly and then off to Paris.
Off to France.
South of France.
Yes.
Aix-en-Provence.
That's right. That's right.
A-I-X. You pronounce it X.
That's right. That's right.
Not I.
According to Google Translate, you pronounce it X. Which, by the way, have you used Google Translate recently?
Did you use that? Is that working out for you?
It's so good.
That's neat.
My wife is fluent in Spanish, and we do this demo to everybody because they can't believe it. She talks Spanish, I speak English. It's instantaneous. It's like such a great app. And it'll of course, do
You
signs.
can have conversations. That's what's amazing.
Like real-time conversations, and it really works. And one time we forgot it was on, and she was going on and on and on and on and on in Spanish, and it perfectly translated literally the whole, like 3 or 4 minutes of constant talking.
No kidding.
Was she mad at you? Is that what?
No.
Okay.
Sadly enough.
And accurately, though, she said it was kind of
perfectly
idiomatic?
accurate.
No, perfect.
Amazing.
Wow.
It's amazing. Anybody in a foreign language country or situation, try Google Translate. It will blow your mind. It's so good.
And Mike's website, if you want to follow his travels, becomingnomad.com.
Yes.
And I love the images that you post on Instagram. I follow that as well because that's fun.
Yep.
Look at that. Hey, guys, it was a lot of fun. You're fantastic. What a good panel. Thank you. I enjoyed every minute of this, and I can't say that's always true.
Oh.
Who do you hate the most as a guest?
Yeah, which was...
Who's like the worst guest? Aside from Lauren Hawkinson. She's like my best friend. Calm down.
Adorable.
Whoa. How dare you? I was making a joke.
That's Shirley Temple.
I'm
Such a
telling
bitch.
Lauren right now.
Leo, you can't swear on the show.
I know.
Hey,
Don't bleep
Lauren,
it out.
did you see...
You know,
Somebody, by the way, now.
somebody will do that.
Yes.
Twitter has become the tattletale place where you go to tattle.
Can't do anything on Twitter.
It's too bad.
Yep.
Thank you all. We got a great live audience. We appreciate you all being here. Michael O'Donnell, who was, held the record for being at the most Screensavers episodes, is now, you're going for it with Twit, I think. I sense. He's great, and he posts a lot of pictures every time he's here. Where's the best place to see those pictures? Is it on your Twitter feed? Say again? ShinyRedPhoto.com. Or follow him on Twitter, which is Michael O'Donnell, or? Photo. That's right, he's at Photo.
I know, he's the best handle.
You thought Alex was good.
Oh, no, it's nothing compared to that. Photo's amazing.
Photo.
Wow.
Very nice. We do Twit every Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 2200 UTC. You know what? I'm going to need a volunteer to light the candle here. Burke, is Burke still here?
Please form a single file line, people.
Yeah, please.
Did you aim a can? I wanted it. We can't do it inside, but we thought we'd put it out on the street there. And John, you want to do it? You got a match? Nobody has a match. Burke's the only guy who smokes in the whole place.
Burke, wait.
Burke left already? Burke! He's probably downstairs.
He doesn't leave.
He likes to hang out. He lives down there, I think. Anyway, I want to light this before I say the closing thing. We do this 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 2200 UTC, every Sunday, I should say. But if you can't be here in person, you can't be... Burke, you have a lighter? Got a camera? Go out there. We gotta light this because it's the 4th of July tomorrow, and we got to celebrate, gosh darn it, the best darn country in the whole wide world because we have fireworks. And by the way, this is illegal. We're legal here for fireworks.
In this town?
In Petaluma.
It's legal.
Burn it down.
Burn it down. It is
City
legal.
council members are like, this is awesome.
They raise money for charity.
Medicine fingers.
They raise money, and the four-finger mayor, four-finger Dave Glass, love him. He's
I feel like I'm missing some references in the last 2 minutes.
No,
here.
we're making them up.
Okay.
You're not missing a thing.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway,
let's talk about Devo some more.
If you can't be here in person, you can always get on-demand audio or video after the fact at twit.tv. They are aiming a camera right now, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, including, of course, iTunes. But there's a podcast app on every platform. There's a Twit app on every platform, thanks to our wonderful independent third-party developers who they're writing stuff for Windows, Windows Phone, Roku. There's, I think, 4 or 5 Apple TV apps. What's the holdup, guys? You gonna do it? All right. We're waiting for routing. We thank you all for being here. We wish you, if you're in the U.S., a wonderful 4th. And
if you're in the UK, a wonderful loss. They lost to Iceland. Well, Brexit, Iceland,
they lost
and
Europe.
independence.
But
They lost us.
everybody loves plucky little Iceland now. I mean, they're America's team.
They lost to France.
Actually, that sounds wrong.
They're American. Isn't America have a team?
They're America's team. Well, we don't have one, so we'll take them.
All right.
No, didn't Germany win overall or no?
Germany won over Italy,
Yeah, I
and then
think Germany
France played Iceland today. I think they won.
This is not the World Cup, though. This is the Euro
France
Cup.
beat them 5-2.
Okay.
So it'll be
Plucky
France.
little
That's a
Iceland's
lot.
out of it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Cash it in.
Well,
Sorry
they're,
about that.
they're still plucky.
They still
They're
got
still
Zeros and Bjork. They're fine.
Yes?
Ready to
Okay,
go.
Ladies and gentlemen, another twit is in the can. Go ahead and light that candle.
Run!
Run, Burke, run! Watch out! As we celebrate. Da, 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 da. Happy 4th of July, everybody! America! Doing the twit. All right. Doing the twit, baby. Doing the twit. All right. Doing the twit. America!
Can't sing that song on the show.
America!
Off to save the something world, yeah.
So we have legal fireworks, but this is the ilk of the
But
legal.
This is really disappointing.
Yeah.
At least there's
This is,
at least there's no evidence that this ever
this
happened.
is the ham salad of fireworks.
Yeah.
I'm feeling more loose.
The bologna and mayonnaise of fireworks.
Can we get like a torch or...
There we go.
Where's Leo's bottle of 151?
Well, that was awesome.
There are so many jokes that we can't make right now due to family-friendly content.
Second time around.
I can hear
Second
it
time
now.
around.
This is the point where you use your finger because you go up all
Right,
it's
'cause
over.
you said it's over.
Good idea to put it under a tree because
Yeah.
that tree is getting lit up right now.
Oh my God.
They're changing stuff.
Humanity. We don't care. We're moving.
Yeah, it's burned.
Maybe sooner than
Burn
you
it all
thought.
down
Wait,
inside.
don't touch it. Whatever you do, there might be another chamber.
Throw a bucket of water on it.
Someone says probably a Kickstarter in chat.
Yeah.
That's a PC guy 8088. That's amazing.
That's a Kickstarter firework. Don't Burke. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh, is that water or
It's
Gas.
it's gasoline.
pure vodka?
Nice. Wow, that was a hell of a festivity.
And there's another twit in the. Oh, it's going. Oh, it's going.